Now, grab everything. I think we're looking good. Hopefully sound and everything is on. Just disarm, I think. Just hey, Haggis, how are you? Can you hear me okay? I had a bit of a few fights with me gimbal trying to work out how to get it not to be doing the loop to loops on me. And I think I'm heading the direction of the org. It's about 6 minutes of a walk. 5 minutes maybe. 4 minutes. 5 minutes. Well, I would call it 5 minutes. Hey, Catty, how are you? Oh, I have to tell you, Roger is a bit annoyed with me. I almost left the house without him. Oh, yeah, the org is just down there. Had me cult hat on me today. Oh no, stop, gimbal. So the cult nearly moved the lectern probably down lower on the hat. Actually might do that. As soon as I tend to wear high on my forehead. I give you instead of you guys looking at me, maybe I'll give you a view of the way down. That's the right one. On fingers. There we go. Give you a view of the roadway down. Oh yeah, exactly, Cathy. There's no way I could have came down without Roger. Oh my goodness. So I don't know if you can see the orb there in the distance. It is a lovely sunshiny day here, which is good. We're not due to get any rain until much later. Busy enough this road, I'll wait for the green man. But we have the green man. Look at that lad's karma. We got the green man just as I walked up to it. Talk about special powers. Jennifer, how are you? So we're just about 2 minutes away from the cult of Scientology here. It's rather a lovely day. Could nearly have brought me peak cap with me to keep the sun out of my eyes, but sure, it'll be grand. Busy enough though for Sunday. I suppose it's 2 o'clock. Busy enough here though, alright. Maybe because it's a nice sunny day. Hey, the journey, how are you? Just about a minute away from the org. The last place on earth I want to go today. Very tempted to say bugger this for gamer soldiers and head for the beach. So I think it's worthwhile to do this. If we can prevent one person from joining the cult, either now or some stage in the future, I think it makes it all the more worthwhile. There's a lot of worse ways, I guess, we could be spending our Sundays. You can see it's a residential area. This is where they set up their business. I won't call them a church because it's certainly not a church. They're a corporate enterprise for culty activities, which they charge people a premium for. Like, it is a lovely area around here. It's kind of a pity you have to stay in there. Initial impressions, I don't think there's much activity on in there, or maybe there is. See a bit of movement. And I see the high vis jacket out. Let's see how busy they are. I do see some cars lined up along. So maybe they are busy. Oh, jeez, there's quite a lot of cars in there. Hmm. Wonder what they have going on in there today. Oh, look, lads, they are busy. Look at that, the cars all the way going out there. There's some sort of an event on there, all right. You have the volunteer lady there in a high vis jacket. We'll just have a little peek in and then we'll revert to our normal spot. Yeah, so they're busy enough. Busy enough in there. I daren't go any further. They're clear of the private property. Well, that's cars all the way right across in. Let me see. Zoom in. Oh, that's it. What's wrong with me? I give up trying to zoom in. Might need to take off my gloves. Say more so my gloves probably do with a wash. They're pretty full in there, alright, and they're in the back there, they're full. There's more cars coming in. What's on the exit? Oh, they say, oh, more parking. Oh, so they seem to be indicating there is more parking in there. I don't know, they look pretty full to me. Unless they're brief pockets somewhere. So definitely some sort of event on. Just going to switch hands for me bag of posters. Hey Hans, how are you? It's a lovely day here in Dublin. It's nice and sunny, which makes a nice change because the last couple of months I've had a fierce amount of rain. Had nothing but rain. Hey Bianca, how are you? So they have, by the looks of things, there's some sort of event on here today because that's a lot of cars. That car park is virtually full in there. Now that said, there's room for maybe, I'd say probably 200 cars, which isn't much considering the capacity of the hall they have in there is probably, what is it, 1,200 or something like that. So it's not great parking facilities when you need to be parking all along the side there. But the pathway does seem to be wide enough in there that if emergency services need to come in, they'd be able to squeeze by them cars. So we'll see if we can work out what kind of event is on. I should have checked the Irish dancing calendar. Maybe they do start up this early in the year. Well, like it was pretty late last year though when they were doing their the Irish dancing finals. Although it could be. Let's go. Do you know what's on in there today?
Dancing's usually on dancing shows.
Yeah.
I guess maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Not sure.
right, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so probably some sort of dancing. Definitely one of these private affairs. It doesn't look like it's a cult event. But that said, yeah, Hans. Normally the car park here will be pretty empty, but they do rent out. Is that an Irish dancing or is that a gymnastics costume she's in? They do rent out the space here for very little money to the local communities, to the Irish dancing guys, and to local gymnastic groups in particular, to try and entice them in. So that's why I like to come out here. So it's good I am out here today. Put my posters, try and plant some seeds that out that maybe this place isn't that friendly, benign place they used to visit as a kid. And just hopefully when they do become an adult, they won't be tempted. Oh, let's check out, go in for a free personality test or a free stress test. I remember that place. There are nothing but lovely staff in there. So that's the best we can do, is try and counteract the messages the cult are giving them. But I don't like the fact they're in there. I don't know, parents can be so complacent sometimes, 'cause I certainly wouldn't put my kids in there surrounded by all the LRH material. And when you have how many of them large widescreens in there pumping out Scientology TV as well? So it definitely looks pretty full in there. What I think I'll do is I'll plant down my gimbal for a bit while I put out my signage. And I'll dig Roger out the bag to keep you company. Hang on, let's get Roger out. Come on, Roger. Oops. There we are, Roger, my protesting buddy. Roger will keep you company there. That's what I want. Oh, music. Let's put on some JoJo tunes. It's actually rather warm. I'm not sure I need my gloves today. What did I do with me? Oh, yes. Did I bring me soundbar? That's the question. I nearly forgot Roger too. I was going out the door when I realised I hadn't packed up Roger. I've never heard the last of it from Roger if I'd forgotten him. He does enjoy coming out here to help protest against the abuses of Scientology. Yeah, put my bag this way. Have to be more secure. Let's see, can we find some JoJo tunes? Music. Yes. Library. What am I doing? Ah, here we go. Playlist. Yeah, that'll do. What is playing? Cool. No, it's Irish dancing, all right. That's an Irish dancing outfit. Yeah. Yeah, it's Irish dancing there, all right. That's an Irish dancing outfit. So they start early in the year down with the Irish dancing. You're only into March. Maybe it's all year round then. Because wasn't it in November when we seen they had their finals on? Then it might be regional stuff though before they do the All Ireland final, maybe. I don't know. Let's get our posters out. It's not windy today anyway, so my posters shouldn't be blown away on me. I do like getting the beeps, and I don't even need assigned pass people to beep. Fancy that. What are these ones? There we go. There's one poster already. Gone for a bit of it. I need to put them closer together. There's not much of a breeze, so I think they should be okay. And it's warm here. Hey, Big Chief. Hey, Brian. Hey, Donna. Hey, Jojo. Hey, Rika. Oops. What am I doing? These sausage fingers of mine get me into trouble one of these days. Yeah, so we're out here outside the Dublin org of the cult of Scientology. And based on the uniforms I've seen some of the young girls wearing, there you can see what, yeah, that's definitely Irish dancing. Definitely Irish dancing. I'll just zoom out there. We don't particularly want to be recording kids on film. Not that it's illegal, because I am on public property here, but there's no benefit to be capturing people. I just don't like the complacency that parents think it's okay to bring their kids to a cult on a Sunday. Did he just take a picture of me? No, he didn't. He's that's one of the, what you call them, e-cigarette things. That's all right. I won't zoom in on him. If he had taken a picture, I would have zoomed in to capture his mugging. Like, you know, if you think about it logically, would you bring your kids to a drug den on a Sunday just because the drug dealer said, "Oh yeah, we promise we won't deal any drugs today"? Do you know what I mean? I mean, the cult hasn't said they're not going to do any culting today because they have their. We can see they have the LRH poster up there in the foyer, and they sure as heck have their large TV screens on Scientology on their Scientology network, and they'll definitely have the cult merchandise, the propaganda leaflets and their booklets on display as well. Do you know what I mean? Oh yes, that is a valid point, Brian. There are a lot of religions or a lot of cults masquerading as religion, particularly in the States and other places in the world, and even here we have the Latter-day Saints suckers and the Jehovah Witnesses are the two main ones. But we're also seeing we're getting an increase in the Hindu and the Muslim ones now as well, because we have an increasing Muslim and Hindu population here. Now I can't tell, unless I do shitloads of research, whether they're authentic Hindu and Muslim religions or whether they're the culty ones. Do you know what I mean? Hey Pinky, how are you? So I guess you kind of know the difference. If there's money involved, then it's a cult. If you need to pay to play, then you know, okay, then it's a cult. It's not nothing for spiritual, and even them spiritual well-being things. There's a lot of them has sprung up over the years, and they seem to be very culty. If it's costing you money, then you know there's something wrong. I'll just move me, just going to move me camera view because there's just a girl coming out there. Hey Dave, to buy about Rupert Lowe. Not sure who Rupert Lowe is. So yeah, just a few children there. I want to just prepare not to capture them, because we don't need to. We'll just go through. We have our posters here on display. We have our warning, cult of Scientology, and these are some of the more common front groups: is the Dianetics, Narcanon, the Vulture Ministers, the Way to Happiness, the Applied Scholastics, the Drug-Free World, Truth About Drugs, Fight for Our Kids, United for Human Rights, Youth for Human Rights, Citizens for Human Rights, which they all seem to be pretty much in different ways trying to say the same thing, that all drugs are bad and the psychiatrists are bad. But they're all invented really as more to suck people into Scientology. Because when you're given it, who wouldn't want the way to happiness? Who wouldn't think, oh, fantastic, I wouldn't mind being happy in life? Do you know what I mean? Or with the drug-free world, if you are addicted to drugs, you might think, "Ah, fantastic, I need some help." Because the drug rehabilitation centres here are very few on the ground and they are expensive to get into. So you can understand why people will be tempted to try out these alternative lads who on face of it say, "Oh yeah, it's when they're claiming that you start off where they give you a certain amount of things for free, and then once they reel you in, then the money very quickly goes up." And then we have this lovely website that our lovely Haggis created is victimshavevoices.com. Survivor stories, support resources, legal help, and report Scientology abuses. So if you have been a victim of Scientology at any point in the past, particularly in the States, I highly recommend you guys check out victimsofvoices.com. That if the FBI route isn't available to get them investigated, that maybe you can file a legal claim against them in the civil court. Hi Kia, how are you? Thanks very much, Cathy. They're holding up well, these signs. I do have on the back of them, I don't know what you call that, plasterboard or something, is it? And I do have them laminated as well, which seems to give them that bit of stability. And they're holding up well because they have taken a lot of abuse. And on some of the windier days here, they have gone for a few jogs. 10 degrees at the highest. I'm not sure what the temperature is here. There is a bit of a cool breeze. It'd be low 10s. Probably is low 10s. Probably is, yeah, because I'm warm enough without me gloves, so it probably is low 10s here as well. And then we have this one. We have Scientology is a cult, elder abuse, child abuse, and it's a money scam, which is another form of, well, it's financial abuse. Hey Fuzzy, how are you? We're here outside the Dublin org of the cult of Scientology, where they seem to be running some sort of there's an Irish dancing contest on the go there. So I'm just trying not to capture the kiddies, even though legally I can. I prefer not to. There's no particular benefit to it anyway. And we have our touch assist is not scientific. For pain relief, consult medical professionals, stop the abuse. So the touch assist, the nerve assist, any form of assist, fuck that. And you probably can't, you can sort of read that where I've just kind of written out the bite model there. So that's mainly for passerbys to have a read of the bite model. So then really the bite model covers any sort of covers a lot more than just cults. It covers abusive relationships and everything as well. So I think it's good. Steve Hassan's book is definitely, well, all of his books are well worth to read. I just saw my phone up. I wonder if you want to talk. How's it going?
I was just reading a song.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's what I have them there for. I'm just trying to plant some seeds particularly with all the kids' events that they run in there. That they're getting false safe points and they'll grow up thinking, oh, that was that benign place, that friendly place I used to go for my Irish dancing. Or maybe there's no harm coming in for a free personality test or free stress test. And that's how you get you on the hook. It's very cleverly crafted the way they've done it through the free personality test to roll you into the cult, and you're not even aware that you're getting mind controlled in there. So that's why I'm out, just to try and, oh, hang on, I remember that lady who's out there with the posters. Maybe I better do a few Googles first before going in there. So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, thanks very much. Thank you. Just talking to a gentleman there who was reading my signs, which is encouraging that people are stopping to read the signage, which does prove that there very much is a point and a purpose to being out here. Was that music playing? Don't tell me I only played one tune. Oh my goodness. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, maybe I'll do shuffle. Oh yeah, that's better. These jobby fingers of mine. And this is the main one here. This one, we have stop forcing, disconnections, child auditing is abuse, no more kids in Scientology. That is what we'd all dearly love to see. We don't want any more kids involved in this cult. And that is in particular where what's going on today does cause me concern. So hopefully by virtue of me being there, we'll give them pause for thought in the future that maybe this isn't a friendly, benign place and there is no harm coming in to a personality test. Maybe there is very much a harm. And at the very least, if we can prompt them to do some Googles and independent research and not to be taking the cult's word for it. Because you certainly wouldn't ask a mass murderer, oh, do you promise not to murder any more people? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't be taking their word for it. Sonny with temps of 11 feels 9. Yeah, it feels around that here, Joe, as well, I reckon. Because it's a bit warm for me gloves. And I am thinking, will I take off a layer? But then I'm not too warm, so I think I might leave the extra layer on. Well, thanks very much, I guess. I think that's the Irish dancing contest links. He has it as 6 degrees. Joe shared the Victims Are Voices website. Thanks very much. My mods are working very hard there. And we have, it's the Dublin Championships, yeah. Yeah, which there'll be a bunch of them. Because that might be split into Dublin, South and West, North and East. So that could well be. And then you'd have the Leinster ones, yeah. Fuck. They could easily have 10 or more of these held here every year then. That's something I'll have to keep an eye on. It's actually good. I was expecting today to be quiet, but it's actually good that we are here to be here with our signage. And then we have Roger here with his too, with his cult and no more kids in Scientology. And we have Stop Their Abuse and JB Mustard's book, A Child X. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend checking out JB Mustard's book, Child X, where he details his experience of growing up as a child in the cult of Scientology and the horrific abuses he suffered. I wonder how can I stop me this still turned on. I wonder if I got one of these other options switched on. Oops. Okay, oh, maybe that might be better. Actually, that's a better setting, I think. I'll have to rewatch that. Them YouTube videos explain how to use a gimbal. I think I could do with a refresher course. Not that I ever mastered how to use one. It's more by pure trial and error that I get to use. I'm able to use this thing at all. It is a tough read, Cathy. What I found was reading to the end of the chapter is what worked best for me, because the chapters tend to end it on a light-hearted note, if you know what I mean. Or you could even listen to the audio book as well. I know I listened to the audio book when I was going for my walks in the park, because that seemed to be easier to listen to while I was walking. Although it was a battle to hold back the tears at some parts of the stories, I have to admit, because the story is heartbreaking. And then when you know he's not the only one, there's a lot of kids experience the same horrific abuses. Am I zoomed in there or no? No, I'm all the way zoomed out. I can never quite tell if I'm zoomed in or zoomed out. by looking at the picture, which you think I would be able to. Oh, look at that! There's someone there with the. That's a blood courier. So I wonder, is that someone from bringing blood from Tala Hospital then into one of the hospitals in town then? Interesting. Yeah, there's some kids out front there, so I'll just avoid capturing the front for now. I'll give the kids their privacy. There we are, Roger there, proudly displaying his 2 signs. I would be curious to see, does next weekend, does the green mesh suddenly appear again? That car park there is full. I wonder what that red van. That's not a red van, it's a yellow van. I wonder did that belong to the cult, or could the group of parents have hired that van themselves? The minibus at the back there will belong to the cult. That's the one they tend to use. I could carry the people I also does Red Cross blood are fantastic. I do love seeing the blood bikes out when they're transporting the actually would not necessarily blood. It could be or could it be the donor organs as well? No, you wouldn't have them on a motorbike, would you? Or could you? Like the bags of blood would be more maybe, I don't know. I'll have to Google that when I go home because now I'm curious. Would the blood courier bikes also do the organs for heart and kidney and that kind of thing? Or that need to be transported in a more secure vehicle like a caravan? I have to Google that now because I'm curious. Yeah, the car park is full, and it goes all the way up the side there as well, which seems to be the case when they have these Irish dancing contests on. I do like seeing people passing by, slowing up when they see the signs to cast an eye on them, which is the purpose of them. I am having a think though about me signage. Do I want to bring these all out with me each time, or do I want to think about creating some new ones? Well, she's having a smoke. I just noticed someone there stared at me. Well, she's having a smoke just standing outside, so probably a parent. Yes or no, Joe, because I'd prefer to be at the beach. I prefer to have packed up my knitting today and gone to the beach. Much prefer to be looking out into the sea than here, but at the same time, I do think it's well worth my time to be out here to have my posters on display. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do seem to have them all here, I guess. I don't know why I wasn't. I suppose I didn't really think about it. But I wasn't expecting to be starting up the Irish dancing this early in the year. When the finals, I think we seen that they were on in, I think November. I think end of October, start November was when they had the finals on. So I guess it's a long year for the Irish dancing. I just have to think: is there some way to reach the parents that maybe it's not such a good idea to bring the kids here? Yeah, granted, they might be into the Irish dancing and wanting to compete in these contests, but at what price? You know, when you think about the hassle I got at one of these events last year by them Karens, which the Karens could very easily themselves have been public members or Scientology. You know, it's a similar level of harassment them type of people will give you. You know, when the only problems them Karens had was me being out here with me camera, which I'm legally entitled to do. That's the only thing they had an issue with. They didn't have an issue with hundreds of their kids being in there surrounded by cult material and cult propaganda. And with the possibility that a few of these in the future, when they become of age, they're going to wander in there for the free personality test and get sucked into it. Because we have seen on the days when there hasn't been an event on and when we have seen the staff coming and going, there are quite a few youngish members of staff in there. So you have to wonder, did some of them get sucked in doing the early dancing or the Irish dancing when this place first opened up? Hey Style, how are you? We're outside the Dublin org of the cult of Scientology, and they have an Irish dancing event on today, which is why the car park is absolutely chock-a-block. There's cars going all the way up their driveway there. Absolutely full. Really gonna have a think, is there any way to reach these parents? Maybe get them to think again. That just maybe there is harm. There's never into. Well, we didn't have time for any outside pursuits as kids. We grew up on a farm, so we were always busy working. We certainly didn't have time for any leisure activities. But I guess if you're into the Irish dancing, that'd be akin to playing for your local sports team. So I can understand why parents would bring the kids here. But at the same time, you wouldn't bring your kids to a known drug dealer's house, would you? Do you know what I mean? So to me, I don't see any of a difference. They're surrounded by cult propaganda in there. Oh, one of the signs are falling down. And we know they have a bunch of widescreen TVs where they're pumping out Scientology TV. They'll have their cult leaflets and booklets on proud display in there. So there's no way there isn't subliminal messages being sent out to the kids and down their false safe pointing. Yeah, style is falling. I hate to see it. I just wish there was some way to reach these parents. Maybe it's time for the parents to put pressure on the Irish dancing lads and say, no, we're not having it. Don't be holding your contest in a cult headquarters anymore. I says I might if it's. Thanks very much.
Getting anywhere with it?
Well, it's more of a. I'm just trying to plant some seeds out
Yeah.
because with the kids in there, they'll say, "Oh, the staff seems very nice and friendly."
They
So
are.
when they grow up, then they might think, "Oh, that was a harmless, friendly place I used to go to do my Irish dancing. Where's the harm in going in for a free personality test?"
Yeah.
And that's how they suck you in. So I'm hoping by me being
Yeah.
here, they'll say, "Oh, I remember that lady used to come out here protesting. Maybe I better do some Google first."
Yeah.
So that's just what I'm hoping for, just to try and counteract that.
Yeah.
Because they are being subjected to, because you can see there the founder LRH in their big poster there in the picture in the front.
Yeah. I know you.
And they do have the large screen TVs in there where they have Scientology Network TV on all throughout the day.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the leaflets and the books in there. So that is going to have some sort of subliminal messages.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And just, I understand why parents think, sure, where's the harm in it?
No.
We're in here doing our. But I do. The way I look at it is, would you bring your kids to a drug den every Sunday if they promise not to be dealing drugs on the Sunday? You wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same thing. It just shows how Scientology in particular is very good at doing the same pointing
Yeah.
to make it appear like that they're
Yeah.
for the benefit of the community.
Yeah. They're not actually. I think they have a tax deal as well. I think they might be in as a charity basis. You know, they don't pay full whack tax. I know they're down money as well.
They're
Most of
they're,
it.
they're down as a what do they call it? Not for profit,
Yeah.
which isn't the same as being tax exempt.
Yeah.
Now I'm not quite sure what the not for profit means, because I think that means you don't pay say income tax.
Yeah.
But if you're not paying your staff wages because they're
Yeah.
volunteers,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm just not sure. I'm not sure about the legalities of that side of things.
I don't think she really took you anyway. I think it was. I think there was a basic, brown paper envelope job done to get them in
Almost
there.
definitely, but you know what made it easy for them? There was an evangelist church here before
Yeah.
that they were an offshoot of the Philippines, and even the evangelist religion, the evangelist churches, they all seem to be very much independent and cult-like. Although they seem to be all over the states, in particular in Philippines and countries like that. So it's hard to say if they are a cult or authentic religions. Because if someone wants to do, say, Bible readings in their front room, you could say, well, fair enough, you know.
Yeah. I don't believe in any religion, any shape or form. I think it's
But
just
what is wrong though is, well, you know, if
money making,
exactly, if you have to pay to
power,
if you have to pay to play,
power control.
and then even you have to go through all these different levels to get up to the operating station levels,
Yeah.
which at that stage you paid a few $100,000. And then when you get to OT level 3, it's only then you find out that we're just inhabited meat bodies. We're eternal beings trapped in these bodies along with other beings, and you have to go through all this auditing to try
Yeah.
and all this kind of nonsense.
Those
But
totally.
I was raised a Roman Catholic.
Yeah. Me too.
We found out from day one Jesus is the Son of God born to the Virgin Mary. We don't have to pay $200,000 to find that out. You know, at least it's upfront,
Yeah.
whether you believe it or not. But these guys, and then they have their own form of confession, which they call auditing, which
Yeah.
is based on their Dianetic book. And in that is abusive practices that go on there. But because of the clever way they suck people in through the free personality test, and then they say, oh, we have this free course on how to rebuild relationship.
Yeah.
And then before you know, you think, because a lot of it is built on common sense and was plagiarized from other sources. So once you get sucked in, and because everyone seems nice, it's very easy to mistake love bombing for genuine friendship because it appears the same.
Do they give you a hard time being outside?
The first few times I started calling out because started
Have
calling
your
out last
feet
year.
stuck up all
Yeah,
the time?
they called the guards on me and said, me just standing here, they tried to say I was harassing staff going in and out.
Free way.
And I said, and I explained to the guards, I deliberately, I'll either start my live stream because I live stream to prove I'm always here.
Yeah.
At no point have I been on their premises
Property,
vandalising because they lie and they're proving I'm. I'll always live stream from up there or from down there and I'll post that way so I can prove. Because you know the way GPS will only say I'm in around this area. So by live streaming before I get here, I can prove. At no point did I wander into the premises and do anything.
But they don't talk about the
What?
cameras they have outside where everyone's walking up and down.
Oh, they've loads of cameras
They've got
and
here
inside as well.
and
They do.
outside
Yeah.
here. But this is our free. We shouldn't be photographed along here. Do you know what I mean?
We shouldn't be, but then trying to get the council to enforce the rules then is another thing. Because these guys believe that they're above the law.
Well, do you know what? Get in the queue because there's loads of people here in Ireland have the same attitude. Do you
Oh,
know,
there is.
everybody's above the law. Won't pay taxes.
You can on. This is where I can kind of understand it because if you get away with it, then
No
they'd look at us. Oh, them fucking sheep. They're paying the taxes. They're being good little people. All them fucking idiots. We're cleaning it here, abusing the system. But that's not the world I want to live in.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
So.
It takes a lot to come out and just stand up to them. Fair dues to you.
Well, I think I think there's a need to.
There's a need to totally.
I don't want them to flourish here, which I think they will do if they're left unchecked.
I think they're embedded here. Really, it take a lot to shift them out here.
Well, they are in bed because what I did see at one of the events last year, you know, the way some of the Indian events they have on here, they had their Garda local community police forces in there, obviously telling them about I think discrimination and things like that and how to be safe. But the fact that we had 3 guards in there as a public relations, I don't know what the term is that they use for it. But the fact that they were in there, you could see, oh fuck, they really have safeguarded the police. And then even I'm looking at, you know, the way the guards are actively recruiting from the minority communities.
Yeah.
Well, what if one of them is a Scientologist and gets themselves into as a guard? They have access then to the Gardaí systems where they can look up people's details and all sorts of things. Do you know what I mean? So there definitely is very much of a need to keep an eye on them and just to try and spread awareness. Because I don't know about you, but up until a couple of years ago, I just thought they were just a benign group. Oh, that's just a cult in America to rip off the rich celebrities like Leah Remini and all of them lads. Because I did listen to about 5 years ago. I did come across a video on YouTube of a Mexican guy saying that he mortgaged his house. He was working
Yeah.
3 jobs to pay for courses, and he was bankrupt. And he took out all this stuff. My initial impression at that time was, this is a load of horseshit. Nobody would do that. I don't believe it.
Yeah, you do.
But it was a couple of years ago I stumbled across some ex-Scientologists talking on YouTube, and there was just so much consistency in their stories. They grew up in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Some of them were public members, some of them were staff members, some of it was part of the interior Sea Org, which is like their military arm.
Yeah.
And the stories of abuse are very fucking similar. It's like, these guys aren't making up, these are telling the truth.
Of course they are. It's all about making money.
That is all it is, but
That's all.
and I wouldn't mind if it's just about making money, but just the auditing practices, it fucks with your mind. That their beliefs is either breaks or it bends your mind.
And you know what? They have all the young people going in so they get them before they even make it, you know.
Oh, it's all to do with the subliminal messages that
Yeah,
when these guys, and that's why I come here, because when these grow up, they'll think, oh, that was that friendly place I used to do me,
Yeah.
do you know?
I better go.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, thanks for talking to us. Yeah, thanks very much. So I'll just write Irish Hotel there and, oh, exactly, yeah. Very much so. We do need to keep an eye on them because they have ingrained themselves here. We're seeing enough evidence of that, which is the LRH 101, isn't it, to ingrain yourselves through the false safe item. So I'll just have to see what can we do to roll back some of that. I definitely don't want to see these people flourish. This called flourish here. I stopped myself from using a very bad word there. Jennifer says I wouldn't let my children dance there. I wouldn't either, but then I don't quite. Yes, different. I would certainly be. I'd certainly be very cautious of where I sent my kids to, even if I did accompany them. I would certainly be researching what's this community centre again? Church of Scientology and Community Centre. I certainly would do my research on it. And if I was a parent, I don't think I would. Regardless of how much my kids pleaded and begged me, I'd say definitely not. I'm not bringing you anywhere near a cult. So I don't know how to. I'll have to have a think. Is there any way to reach the parents? Or maybe this is the best I can do is to come out here and plant some seeds in their heads. Because like when it's the National Irish Dancing Association of Ireland, like they have rules and regulations that they hold themselves to. Do you know what I mean? It's just all the more bizarre that they are operating here from a cult and from one of the most dangerous ones at that. Just so bizarre. Now I understand when their premises has been offered to them for next to nothing, but even still, for the sake of saving a few pennies, I don't think it's worth the risk to the future of your children's welfare. Yeah, they most certainly are full of your style. I mean, music is. Did I only play one tune again? Let me come back out. What am I doing wrong? Hang on. Oh no. Oh, that one's not downloaded. Oh. Oh, I didn't sync up my iTunes properly. Yeah, one of my playlists aren't. Damn it. I should have done a test run on my iPhone before leaving the house to make sure I'd synced this properly. I think, hang on. Rather than playing the playlist. Uh, doo, doo, doo. We could play the Christmas one. Yeah, maybe we'll play the Christmas one. With the Lisa tunes first and then the Christmas one, I think, because my new playlist is not downloaded. Yeah, I do think it's a tough one though. And it's the official Irish dancing government body here in Ireland, running the Irish dancing contest here. Because then your option is to opt out of it. Then it is a tough one. But then the Irish dancing in itself is an elite sport. Because you imagine even for the Irish dancing costumes and for the Irish dancing lessons, that in itself would make it pretty elite. Because how much is that going to set you back a year? It's certainly more expensive than just playing football at your local club. Yeah, Roger has his own little sides there. Yeah, I messed up with the tunes. I created a new playlist, but I didn't download properly. But now I think I'm playing the my Christmas playlist, so that should play more continuously. Roger is looking pretty dapper. What I am thinking about doing is making a new hat for me and a matching one for Roger with that'll have the cult lettering on it. Well, I was thinking of I have 5 different colours of neon yarn. That I was thinking of making it a multicoloured with a different repeating strips on it. Thought that might look good, and then maybe with the writing in black on it. And we'll use that then as our cult busting uniform, if you like. He is a dapper little fella, though, isn't he? He's quite a handsome fella. Despite having a big head and short, stubbly legs and little arms on him. I think I might have myself a drink of water there. I don't know. Do you know how easy they found it to get in there? Is that there was a evangelist church based in the Philippines had a church here before.
Okay.
They went Victory Church, yeah, they went bankrupt. And because this land was already zoned for religious use, that's how they're getting in there. Even though we don't recognise them as a religion, we know they're a cult. They were still able to, because the way they registered the business is for religious purposes. So that seemed to be, the way the legal use of words away. And then you have to wonder, was there any iffiness going on? Because the way they use the word community centre, and they do offer the space for very little money to the. But the Irish dancing lads are well ingrained here. The Irish Dancing Association, they're well ingrained here. That's why there's so many Irish dancing contests on. And they used to have somewhere where they used to hold the competitions. I think someone was telling me that it's now operational as an iPass centre.
Okay.
So it's all very,
Yeah.
Well,
we're not happy. We're not happy with them there.
yeah, and that's why I come out just to try and undo some of the same pointing that maybe when the kids grow up, they'll wonder, hang on, that lady used to come out here. Maybe this isn't a benign, friendly group. And maybe there is harm in going in for the free personality test, because that's how they get you in on the hook.
It's hard to watch.
It is hard to watch, and that's why
It's hard to watch.
it is hard to watch. I don't know how to reach the parents, though. Because if you look at it this way, would you send your kids to a drug den on a Sunday if they promised, oh no, it's okay, we won't sell any drugs today?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Send them anywhere. We thought they were selling drugs any day.
Well, anywhere you send your kids, you'd research on that, I'd say first anyway.
Yeah.
Like I know there's other.
It just looks so enticing, and they know how to entice the
It does
kids
look
into it.
benign, but it's all because they've masked. LRH knew about mind control techniques. And the way to do it, get them in with a free personality test, maybe offer a few cheap courses, 50 quid to do how to repair a broken relationship. So a lot of it is kind of self help stuff and get you sucked in. And then once you do, you kind of think, oh, I'm getting benefit from this. And once you're sucked in, then you're surrounded by people who you think are your best or your new best friends. So
I know, because I know Tom Cruise
yeah.
and also the other star,
Oh,
John
John
Travolta.
Travolta, yeah,
So that was in the media a
yeah,
bit, and what went on in the
yeah.
marriage with the kid and all, you know.
Oh, thanks very much. That's another local lady there. Oh, exactly, yeah. Child X front and centre. Actually, I should mention that more to the people to check out Jamie Muster's book. But like it does show that the signage is working. People are noticing the signage, which is good, which shows which shows me that is more than well worth my while to be popping out here. Even though there's a billion other things I prefer to be doing, particularly on a nice warm day. See even the fella there out jogging, he slowed down to have a quick read of the signage. I was going to have to think about is the way to reach the parents. And now, yeah, and if not reach these parents, maybe reach the parents of the future that they won't. Going to have to find out more about this Irish dancing though. But it does show we do need some changes to the laws around the world. The use of the word church and religion. Now we don't want to be policing the word use of the word so either, but at the same time, a cult should not be able to operate openly or freely like this. Like this, just to me, it's just wrong. How can this be legal and upward and pucker and they're allowed to operate in the open like this? Do you know what I mean? It just blows my mind thinking of it. I don't. No, there is a little entrance just beyond the cult driveway into the football pitch. Oh, thanks very much, I guess. Yeah, no, Donna, there is a little just beyond the cult driveway. There is an entrance into the football pitch. All right, they are separate. But you know what these guys try to do? The little the little bit of a football pitch these guys have themselves. They tried to when they first opened up here. They tried to turn it into a children's playground, and thankfully that planning permission was denied. But like for fuck's sake, can you imagine a kid's playground? Flipping heck, man! How long we been here? We've been here an hour. We're seeing people going in all right. Not many people leaving. So that means we have people here. Like the children are in there for pretty much a day. They're going to be doing their Irish dancing for how long? Maybe 10, 15 minutes. That's a lot of the day to be in there subjected to the cult material. Do you know what I mean? Hey, Meyer, how are you? Oh, yeah, Roger is looking pretty dapper. We're outside the Dublin org of the cult of Scientology, where they have an Irish dancing event on today. I was at one of Kathy's alls. Oh yeah, the No More Kids on Scientology is what Roger is proudly on this showing there. cult and no more kids in Scientology. Because I know they do have a bunch of large screen TVs in there where they do pump out their Scientology network TV. And then combine that with the leaflets and the books and things they have on display. Like, there's no way there isn't subliminal messages going into the kids' thinking. And being some bit of curiosity about this place, even if they do know it's a cult. Like, children are very curious. And then when they grow up and they think, oh, hang on, free personality test or free stress test, maybe I'll give it a go, find out for myself. Do you know what I mean? Which is probably the worst thing you can do is find out for yourself by going into the cult. At the very least, I would hope people would do some their own independent research on Google and find out, maybe work out why would someone like me be out here on a Sunday with my signage warning about the abuse of Scientology. So just hopefully that these children, when they do grow up, they will do some independent research and realise, oh fuck, there is some harm. I'm definitely not going in to do a free personality test. And even if you think about it, if a free personality test was so effective at helping people, then wouldn't there be free personality tests being given out in colleges and schools all around the country, all around the world? Wouldn't you be able to pop into your local chemist or your local doctor's surgery and get a free personality test done if there is any possible scientific benefit to them? Do you know what I mean? Like, dangle the word free, and sometimes people lose all sense of reason. Think about it. Why would someone be offering you something for free? There's always a devious catch into it. Like, therefore, we do see some children there playing out front, but there's so many more children in there being subjected. How's it going? Oh yeah, that's good. That's what they're there for. I'm just trying to because when the kids are in there, okay, granted they're there for the Irish dancing, but they're going to grow up thinking, oh, that was that nice friendly place I used to do my Irish dancing. Where's the harm in going in for a free personality test or a free stress test? Not realising that's the way they suck you into it.
Did you see what Dublin Zoo do about mothers on Mother's Day and they're advertising for that and for Patrick's Day?
Oh, I didn't. I just seen the headline, but I didn't get a chance to read the story. This is that term woke. I don't fully understand what
Well, they
what
think what they
exactly it
think is
means.
seeing the light, but it's not. It's manipulation. I mean,
Well, you can go too far to the left, too far to the right.
well, you see,
Where you,
both of them are going too far, and they're both in the same position now.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They're both delusional.
Well, you need a healthy balance. Look at things from all sides and some sort of a compromise meeting in the middle.
How was that different in America? I was actually once I was there one time. I was there in Los Angeles where they're based,
Yeah.
and the whole street is unbelievable. Scientology, but you know the way they
Oh,
live.
they bought out practically the entire street, and they even managed back was in the 80s. They managed to get the street renamed
Vulgar.
LRH Way,
Oh, yeah,
which is absolutely mind-boggling. Now there are activists working in the states to try and get that name reverted back to Veranda Way, whatever it used to be called. And they've raised some very good points at the weekly meetings in that would you name the street after Charles Bronson, for instance?
yeah.
Same fucking difference.
Who was the leader originally?
Um, Lafayette, Ronald Hubbard, yeah.
Robert Street.
Yeah.
Can I ask you though, do people actually live in there, or do they? You know the way in.
They don't, there's no one living in here, but they do rent some units in Wicklow.
Okay.
Because you do see some of the staff being ferried up and down.
And some of them are going up to the north because they're less taxed up there.
Oh yes, yeah. There's all sorts going on.
I know her name. But I think
That is just a horrific story, and she's not the only one. But that just shows she was under their care, and it just shows the lack of regard they have for their staff.
So, in speaking of staff, are they Americans in there?
No, they're mostly Eastern European,
Really?
although they do have a few Irish people that are in their early 20s. So I'd be curious to know how they get in. Because there is a lady there. I'd be curious to know, did she get sucked in through the Irish dancing route or somehow?
Oh,
Because I know the guy they have working for them, he goes out with their Dianetics leaflets around town. And I think he got onto them because he was on drugs and they helped him get off the drugs. But you know how they help people get off the drugs? Through the Narcanon program. It's basically you're on a sauna for weeks on end, 5 to 6 hours a day. You're taking you take something like 10, 20,000 they recommend limit on ice and another vitamins.
oh
They leave them dehydrated and then they're in there sweating. They have a pinky red glow come out of the skin and they tell them, oh, that's radiation leaving your body. Whereas not, that's a niacin overdose. It's highly fucking dangerous.
They remind me of the medics in in the psychiatric institutions and what they were concerned.
There probably are a lot of pearls there,
There is
right?
a lot of, yeah,
Yeah.
there is.
And this
And
one,
they're the only ones that
these
have
are
to-
some of the front groups that they operate on to try and like the volunteer ministers. I've seen them out and about sometimes. They pretend to do good, but they don't. It's all about collecting money and donations, and then they only give them to people they think they can rope into Scientology. It's not about helping to feed the poor or anything like that. They, in particular, they go to a lot of disaster zones, hand out a few token bottles of water, film themselves as if they're saving billions of lives.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all kind of PR stunts. It's all very superficial, everything these guys do.
It's,
And then they do the drug-free world thing and trigger about drugs. You'll see them sometimes, they'll be handing out leaflets and that.
I've seen them
And
in
you might
town.
think,
Yeah.
on the face where you think, oh, that's a good thing, because you're thinking, oh, that's helping keep people off drugs. What they mean is they mean all sorts of drugs, life-saving cancer medication, life-saving seizure medication. They classify all the same. All the paracetamol drugs are bad.
You know what they,
Psychiatrists are also bad.
you know what they remind me of too? The Irish Cancer Society. Well,
Yeah, but they do good though.
they give them false pretenses. They have the drug companies coming in, giving they're sponsoring them. They weren't set up for that. They
Yeah.
were set up by us and Dara to give care to people
Yeah.
with cancer, not to get involved in what they do. And what are they collecting money for? How much is the chief executive and all this?
That is why I'm very careful what charities I do donate to. It's more the local ones like the hospices, because they I also give the same difference in the Paul because I know people who work for them and they do genuine good. But for the likes of concern, completely disillusioned how much is going into the higher up pocket.
Oh, yeah.
When you give your euro, how much of that is going to the actual people who need it?
They got cut out for
Do you know what I mean?
I stopped that. I had standing orders, and
Yeah.
then I was with the Ulster Bank, and they left, and I didn't renew them.
Yeah.
They got in trouble for that. The high people for getting the money. I think.
Oh yeah, and the same with what's that one thing that Macaulay set up? That was a con. Then she was bringing over the Chernobyl children on holidays here, whatnot. But that was making money for herself through the way she had it set up.
Oh, you won.
But I'd much prefer, you know, the guys out with the feeding the homeless. I'd much prefer to give them, oh, what do you need? Oh, you need socks, you need a few jackets. I'd much prefer to, because then you know what the money has been spent on.
So in here, sorry, are they based in Abbey Street still?
No, that's long gone. That went belly up.
So where are they? Did they have a hub in town or?
They have on Merriam Square. They have sort of a corporate office, and I'm not quite sure.
It's a big.
I'm not quite sure what exactly they use. It is a big building. It's they do have a basement where there's loads of files in it, and I think they have cult members working there that translating Dianetics and the other. Like LRH wrote, he's in the Guinness World Book of Records for writing so much fucking books and whatnot.
But they're all reporting back to the States, are they? Like with.
I'm not quite sure how the hierarchy is working because they might be reporting to the UK
Really?
because each Grimage is where they're headquartered on this side of the world. So I think they'd be feeding back in there. But like here, they cover Scotland
Okay.
as well, because some of the there's a guy who recently left. They have one of these buildings in Edinburgh. There's a guy called Armar. He left recently, but while he was rooting out of Scientology, they have what they call OSA, which is their internal affairs department, just like fucking CIA, one of them type of hardcore military units. They gave him the third degree on why he was doing interview, because he did a few interviews with people speaking out about Scientology because he was curious, and he was also having doubts that something isn't quite right with this so-called religion. So he was doing his own research and talking to some of what they call declared SPs. So then he got called and said, "Oh, why were you talking to this guy Alex Barnes off on YouTube?" Which he does a lot of talking out about him. He's an ex-member. He does a lot of work in the UK. And the OSHA guider is over. He's based here in Dublin. So it's all very curious. And I know some of the Scientology events, when they do hold a cult event here, people from Northern Ireland and from Scotland do travel over for it.
But I have read
Which
a
is
lot about
very
this, and
curious.
I know that I've heard the stories.
Yeah.
But mostly in America, people are doing lesbian.
But it's wherever they're based. It's the same practices. And even their teachings, it's all part of, it's abusive to the mind, whichever way you look at. But if you are looking for a book to read, I highly recommend reading Child X by Jamie Mustard. He's someone, he grew up.
It's anti-science. It's that.
Pardon?
It's anti-science.
Oh, it's pseudoscience.
It's
Yeah.
anti-science.
Because
Slavery, poverty, yeah.
he's a child. He grew up as a child in Scientology, and his story is by no means unique. There's been stories from people who grew up in Australia, New Zealand, in Denmark, Sweden, all over the world that have very similar stories of growing up in Scientology conditions they were kept in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What are they giving? 25% of their wages or something? They give a lot of money, don't they?
Well, this is it. They don't get any wages. Like they're.
No, but they have people giving them so much of that salary. I know.
I know they. Oh yeah, because they also have another arm called the IAS, the International Association of Scientologists, which is really, that's their donation arm, or where to prove you're a good Scientologist. You're going to donate. I'd say when they renovated this year, that was all built. That was all based on IAS money that they would have gotten people in the States, over in London, to donate the money to say, "Oh yeah, we're setting up this fantastic premise here." And this is, they tend to open up. They call this an ideal org, and they tend to open up maybe 3 or 4 years their aim, and that is all from sucking in people. Well, and they're not even wealthy lads. They're maybe even people who don't have it. They're having to skip meals to be able to donate themselves, because they attend these events. If you're a staff member, even a Scientologist, a lot of pressure is put on you to attend them. You have to pay to attend, and then you have to donate then.
Yeah.
It's very hard to walk out of the event without donating anything.
Oh, I'd say, yeah. So when you were saying the dancing crew gone in there, is that
That's the official Irish dancing fucking body.
right?
It's an
You
absolute.
see them down here. You won't get parking down here
Yeah.
in that car park. They're parking in housing estates and all.
And it's just unreal the way parents of all say pointing them thinking, "Oh, where's the harm?" Whereas I think there very much is a harm. You're surrounded by cult propaganda in there.
But most of them you're saying are not actually actively members at the minute. They're just going in doing.
Oh yeah, I know they're just there's probably only a handful of staff members in there, maybe 1 or 2 dozen staff members, and everyone else then are just going in there. There might be some out the back doing courses.
Yeah.
And like, your children are highly impressionable.
Yeah.
You're going to see something, you might see something like the Way to Happiness booklet in there and think, then later down you're struggling.
Your child doesn't
You know
even
the
have
way.
to go in there to be influenced. You have someone from their class to come in, and they're influencing the whole class.
Oh yes, exactly.
So, as happened as a kid, the parents are very, once they go to school,
Yeah.
what's happened in the school and in the classroom has more effect on that child than the father and the mother.
Oh yeah, from their peers. And that's how that the two main ways that they do recruit people in is through you recruiting a friend. or a family
Oh,
member.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're the two main reasons. Because obviously, you trust your friend, you trust your family member.
Trust is hard.
I remember I meant to say that Hubbard was the man who took over from Hubbard. He heard he was a really nasty person. Now, I
Oh,
know,
David Miscavige, always
yeah, yeah,
a.
yeah, him, yeah. I heard he was very
He's more of a. No, I don't know what you'd medically describe him as,
Well, he's
but
special needs anyway.
he's very very clever the way he masterminded. He wasn't supposed to take over. It was supposed to be a couple called Annie and Pat Broker who LRH trusted. But he managed to insinuate himself because he was the go-between. He was delivering messages to other people in Scientology from Hubbard. So he's able to support certain amounts and then say, oh, Hubbard said this, that, and the other. So he's able to,
In
exactly.
other words,
And then anyone who talked out, oh, they were declared, oh no, that's a suppressive person. So they're ousted from Scientology. So he got rid of them all.
I mean, I've heard of stories of the
But he is
the
a
wife and
very,
husband.
he's very abusive. And that's even, that was created by LRH and that he built abuse into the system.
Is he still there?
He died in the 80s when Miscavige took over. And even at that, they said he didn't die. He dropped his body to go to Target 2 to further his research. Like it's, and then even when you think about it, that they do all these stages to get you up to what they call Operation Satan, OT levels, and before then they call you pre-clear. But it's not until you get to Operation Satan level 3, by which stage you've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, that you find out. It's only at that point you find out that we're all eternal beings trapped in these meat bodies. That a guy called Xenu from a galactic overlord from a planet, God knows where, dropped billions of us here in this prison planet which he called TGAC, blew us up and threw us into volcanoes and icebergs and all sorts of things. And we managed to free ourselves and not only is it you, your own eternal being trapped in this body, there's all these other Satans inhabit your body. And that's why you need to pay loads more money to do auditing, to try and free yourself of all these fucking beings. And because of the slow way, when you go through the process, they start introducing these things.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
it kind
They're
of,
talking about all
you're kind of thinking, it sounds a bit iffy, but people around me seem to believe in it. Maybe at the next level, it'll start to make sense.
But Tom Cruise
Well,
left.
well,
He
I
got it
wouldn't
very
even
well.
get involved. I wouldn't even take them on. I wouldn't take on the church running. You come up with something new.
Yeah.
And you go back to the original of time of business.
Yeah.
Go back to the original. And science and faith are the one thing. So
And
they
that,
wouldn't-
and that is where try and encourage people to think for themselves. In particular, this is a good book to read. This book, Steve Hassan's book,
Fucking close mind control, yeah.
and he's the one who came up with the bike model, which I have on the two posters there.
The Mormons are kind of a cult as well.
Oh, they're another abusive cult.
Just
There's
so
a
that
lot of
them-
abuse goes on. Even the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know the way they don't like blood products. That's only the tip of the iceberg of the abuse that goes on under the hood. It's all shocking when you read about and you kind of say, how the heck are all these operating in plain sight? You know what I mean? So it's where I do think education is important, and I do think in schools we should be teaching kids about cults. And even if you think about the way cults operate with the coercive control
Yeah.
is very similar to an abusive relationship. So do you know what I mean? So whichever way you look at that type of education, I think is absolutely vital to kids in schools. And I think to anyone with a parent with a kid in school should be insisting and saying to the teachers board, we need this, we want
Well,
this.
it's like the one, you ever heard of Richard Ryman?
Yeah.
He said, don't confuse education with intelligence. There's a lot of people going around with PhDs and all those, and they're idiots.
But I was going to say as well though that I remember when I was younger in town, they used to be more dominant there.
Yeah.
And they'd come up to you and say, "Do you want to pay for your personality
Yeah.
test?" And I knew then maybe they got told to stop doing that, did they?
Well, I tell you where the
There is still, well, they don't have the numbers. There's only one chap I've seen out and about. You'll see him in the red genetics jacket. where he does
Actually,
be out with his
I always saw
leaflets.
them. That was really scary. When I was in
Yeah,
the States, I seen them. I seen them picking up people on the streets, and the way they talk to them, and that's scary to see. I seen it in town. I seen it in Dublin
yeah.
actually. I seen them picking on people that are typically, I don't know, they might not be savvy, but anyway, they pick up.
You might be at a vulnerable stage in your life. If you think back when you were 17, 18,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
left home going to college. Maybe you had trouble making friends for whatever reason. Or
yeah,
maybe you're just split from your girlfriend. Maybe your parents had just died and you lost your brother.
yeah.
You know, there's so many vulnerable moments in our lives that they can get you at that right moment. You can see very easily how someone can get sucked
Seen
in.
it, yeah,
And then they're very charismatic. And
yeah.
they always seem to be young and attractive.
That's right. They were.
And you find yourself instantly your guard is dropped. Rightly or wrongly, but your guard is dropped. And you kind of believe them.
Yeah. I remember there was some girl. She was very
Yeah.
pretty and everything, but she was sucking the guy in, like, and he knew that he was sucked in, and he went. There was no turning back, you know. Like,
But it's a sort of, I don't know how you describe it, but they're able to sort of play on your emotions somewhat. That maybe you find the young girl attractive or you think, oh,
there
she
was,
seems nice, she seems to like me, maybe,
but I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it
you
before. I've
know,
seen what they're doing.
Well, I used to, my father-in-law was a church of Ireland,
yeah,
and as Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons used to come to the house,
yeah,
and he'd invite them into a chat.
yeah.
And he used to hammer them. Hammer them.
You
Uh,
got
the,
it.
the, um, the Mormons have stopped calling to me. The last time, used to be two young girls, 15, 16, were come knocking, but the last time, I was just informed for them, and they kept going on about eternal life. And I said, Jesus, I wouldn't want eternal life. Can you imagine getting increasingly older day by day, year by year? Can you imagine what it'd be like when you're 100,000, how old and decrepit your body would be?
You know what? The government needs to, or somebody
Well,
needs.
it doesn't work, you see.
I know, but
Time, time,
they had no
no,
answer for me.
no, time is eternal.
They kept going on their phones
Time
and
is
Googling for
eternal.
the official answers. And I just kept deflating all of their answers and in the end of it, I kind of felt sorry for myself.
Well, if you
Good
look,
luck, girls.
if,
Best of
if,
luck. I have to get back to
if you
work.
look at
They knew
time,
you were savvy.
time is in the now. It doesn't get older, and yesterday's only a memory.
So you're saying that maybe they should mention this in schools, education, that you should be careful
I
about it.
think there should be some sort of cult education in school.
Yeah.
And as well just to educate then on how abusive relationship work. Because nobody knowingly goes into a relationship knowing they're going to be abused. But once you get sucked in, because it goes through, it's very similar that you go through a love bombing stage. You're presented with your false version, a false projection of what your future's going to be like. Like these guys will tell you, oh, you'll be able to achieve your true potential. You no longer need glasses. You'll have perfect memory recall. Your earning potential will go through the roof because you'll be a whiz at your work. You get promoted in no time. You'll be running your own company. You'll be CEO. You'll be
So they don't
kind
want
of
to hear
in.
age.
Well, it's similar with an abusive relationship. They do that same love bombing. And then once they suck you in, then there's always a reason why they flip the lid. It's because you did something wrong. So it's always this victim blaming. And even when someone in there does question Scientology, they very much do that themselves as well as victim blaming. Or if you get abused, oh, this is one that really fucking sickens me. If you get abused by another Scientologist, that Scientologist doesn't get into trouble. The victim does. They say, oh no, that's because you're weak. You shouldn't have allowed this to happen.
Oh
Do
yeah.
some more. If you go up the bridge and do these courses here, then you'll have full control over time, space, matter, all this kind of stuff. You'll never get abused or assaulted
Now,
again.
you see what's going
And
on
then
here?
they also say then as well, you must have been some fucker in a previous life to deserve this. You must have been the greatest abuser because they believe in past lives. We've all lived a billion past lives and we'll live a billion more because we're eternal beings. So you must have been some fucker in your past life to deserve this now. So you need to free yourself of all the wrongdoings on our past lives. Okay, so you need to do this bunch of
That's the
courses
danger.
over
Once you
here.
get in, it's
And you
probably hard
need
to
to
get out.
do, and then as well as doing the courses and paying for them, you need to do auditing, which is on the e-meter. And that costs you another stack of dollars.
Did you see what's going on in UCD at the moment?
No, what's going on?
There was a female student was raped by a medical student, and she
Oh,
wasn't allowed to see it. There was someone that had an abortion, and they set a picture around the stuff
yeah,
around it. It was the behead in the doll. The Minister for Health has referred it to the medical council.
Jesus.
And the medical council now they're in the shower.
Yeah,
Because my GP told me that had persecuted him for the last 3 years of his life. He given a prescription for someone who was on heroin for Valium. And
Yeah.
didn't she get the prescription, go around the different chemists? And got him in fucking trouble. That's why now that the chemist will actually hold the prescription.
Yeah.
She can't go to another chemist.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a fellow who was in college with, well, he was doing different courses, but he ended up in the drugstore. He says what to do is to get high on cocaine and to bring themselves down with Valium.
Yeah.
It's all a fucking scam.
Yeah, it's just, we're surrounded by scams, and that is where I think education is important, and to encourage people, even just to try and get people to think for themselves. Because you think of all the SAM call centres that's based in particular in India and other places around the world.
I'll tell you what we have. The first one, in my workplace now, we have a fellow who's a PhD, he's from Pakistan.
Yeah.
He's on Ramadan.
Yeah.
On the phone, you can't get him to do anything. Oh, show me this. And show me that. You learn.
Yeah.
Well, fucking learn.
But you know what? They kind of grew up in a different environment.
Yeah.
Because you know the way, as kids, we were encouraged to learn, think for yourself, and give them the tools to that. But over there, it's more sit down, shut up, do what you're told.
No, we had it years ago, back in the 80s. We had a student from Iraq.
Yeah.
And he was sitting down, he was from the upper class. They
Yeah.
would have had serving. And he said to the academic, he said, no, it's if you're here to learn, you do.
Yeah.
And now, and what I find in there now, I'm in the physics world.
Yeah.
And we do clinical measurement and all that.
Yeah.
When you help the Muslim girls and you treat them with
Yeah.
respect, they can't believe it because their own fellas don't treat them with respect.
No, they're not used to it because the place where I work, we work with a lot of Indians, and there's one of the guys I used to work with. He used to do these free Dublin tours around Dublin that he'd bring us out. I went there one time because he was very knowledgeable about all the historical sites. Some of the Indians came along. One of them brought his wife with him. She was carrying a bag. Anytime he wanted a drink, she was taking the drink out, lifting it to his lips, doing everything bar wipe his bum. And I just thought, Jesus Christ, that's not.
I bought my house off one of our lecturers from India.
Yeah.
Indian Brahmins.
Yeah.
They were the best educated.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Brilliant.
But listen, I was going to say, I don't know, I hope it works. I hope that they learn.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, the way I look at it is worst case scenario. What's the worst case scenario? I'm coming out here, I'm just wasting my time. I'm okay with that. But because there is a possibility that just maybe I might prevent one person in the future from dying in this cause. To me, that makes it more than worthwhile.
Even the people beeping.
Because of the amount of abuse I do going on.
But the people
And there's
beeping-
no, you can't be a Scientologist and not be subjected to abuse because it's written into their beliefs and the practices. And even though you don't know you've been abused, like when you're in an abusive relationship, a lot of people don't realize until years later when they're away from the relationship, they realize, oh shit, I was abused.
Yeah, well, you know the biggest abusive relationship. A lot of people abuse their own minds.
But you,
Oh,
if you-
they do.
if
And that's
you
what
were at
they're
the
at.
entrance, though, if you were had to be at the entrance, are they seen you enough when they're going in? Like,
Well, it's just, I don't like being the entrances down there, which,
do you know what I mean?
I-
Are they going to see people in the cars are seeing it and stuff, and people passing by?
well, they'll see me here on my high vis,
Yeah.
and then they'll see when they pass by.
Well,
But,
I think it will work because if anyone questions it, they just need to look it up and say, and then they'll find
Yeah,
out. the
exactly,
hard
yeah.
story.
You could have that constantly on the web for someone to see.
Oh, you could,
Scary
yeah.
thing, scary thing.
Yeah.
Listen, think
Can I
you-
give you my card?
Sure
That's
thing.
my YouTube channel there.
Sure, yeah.
If you want to even give us a sub and a like, that'll help feed the beast and maybe spread it out to more people. And that in itself is just a way of spreading awareness as well.
Will do.
And then you never know who you might reach.
Yeah.
You might reach someone whose mum or dad is a lawyer or a judge, or someone that can do something to make some changes. Cults should not be allowed to operate freely. Even the way they use the word church and community centre, how the fuck is that legal? I know you can't police the use of words, but even still, there should be some sort
It should be
of.
taught in school or something.
There's certainly something missing there.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Thanks for talking to us. Let's whip back on the music there. Yeah, I think so. I'd agree with that, Miriam. Sunday does seem to be a more relaxed day. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Sophia's joined us. Can't remember, did I say? I think I did say hi to Maya. I do like when people stop and talk to me. And when I see passers-by reading, even when they don't stop and talk, that you do see them looking at the signs, which is good. And then you kind of know then yourself the way people do talk to each other. They'll go home now, they'll talk to their family and friends and mention about talking to me today. And that is another way of helping to spread the message. Yeah, Miriam, they do. They do like the Irish dancing girls of today do like the big hair and the fancy dresses. It's very much has a feel of the American pageantry about them. Oh, I like that, Sophia. Should start with teaching kids about boundaries and autonomy, because if you enable children to have boundaries, autonomy first, they're not as susceptible to being controlled. Absolutely, Sophia, yeah. That is perfectly put. They directly try to lower the kids or get into use problems. But they don't even need to directly lower the kids. You lower in the parents, I guess. And that is a good point. I wonder how many of these parents are foolish enough to be subjectable themselves and think, oh, I'll pop in for one of the free courses myself. Yeah, that's a side I'd fall down on. If I had a child, I would not let them anywhere near a building that I know was a cult. And I'd look at it as the same as if that was a drug den, I wouldn't be bringing my kids there. Even if the drug den promised, oh no, don't worry, we won't be doing any dealing today. So for you saying, but that's why you teach to all children early on, because you don't know a child's home life. And planting the idea of autonomy as a basic right early helps make children more resilient. Absolutely, Sophia, that is a valid point. We don't all have two good parents. We don't. There's even some poor kids that don't even have one good parent out there. So it says every little bit that we each do was like a sentence in a long story, and that's very well reach out to her. Exactly, it's every little bit helps. It's all if you think of it, it's all maybe now is one cog in a wheel that maybe has a billion moving parts. And even you guys being here listening, it all helps. It's all feeding into the same. Oh, I agree, Miriam. Yeah, that's why we need people and not drive away from the movement. Exactly. Yeah, support each other. Concentrate on the positive. We all have different ideas of the right and wrong way to do things. But this is where sometimes a bit of tolerance and understanding. There is no right or wrong way. Oh, that poor lady. She looks like a staff member. She's there hobbling on the crutch. She certainly doesn't look like a parent. Just going to zoom out there. I'm even sure if there's any point trying to capture even. But yeah, there is no right or wrong way. There's just different ways. Now, you could argue the thought that maybe there's some clearly wrong ways, but I think that's a judgment call for people to make themselves and to decide on what their objective is by going out protesting. So if you're saying most countries forget about prevention, because children learning the critical think early on are inconvenient because most effective the kids learn early enough, even though it's yeah, I can see what's inconvenient if you empower your kids to think for themselves and they might question some of the dubious practices of mommy and daddy. Exactly, yeah. I think there's in today's world we could there's I think we do need to be increasingly more vigilant in everything. Even when you go shopping at the supermarket with all the artificial crap they put on our food today. We need to be vigilant about the ingredient list and the way all these corporate conglomerates are swapping out real ingredients for all the fucking artificial fillers. So I do think we do just need to be more aware in general, and maybe not be paranoid, but maybe not be quite as trusting. Maybe do our own independent research. There's a few lads beeping their horns there. We've definitely heard the beeping of their horns there. I guess there's absolutely style education trickling through communities. Here in an Irish broadcast such good public engagement and style in Chicago. The uni kids had formed a concert with the protesters. Fantastic. I think I'm all caught up. Geez, an hour 40 I've nearly been live for. I'm going to have a drink of water and getting a little bit hoarse there. Oh my goodness, my body is starting to lock up a bit. Growing old is a bugger, lads. So one thing I noticed as I've gotten that bit older, that standing in the one spot for too long makes my back in particular very stiff. Whatever that's about. Maybe I need to be drinking cod liver oil by the bottle to loosen up. There's no way of putting a positive bit on this. How can it be okay to bring your kids in here, add them inside the cult all day? Do you know what I mean? Because there is nothing really for the kids to do when they're not doing the Irish dancing. They may be watching their age group. They may be spending a bit of time rehearsing. But by and large, they're in there with not much to do. They're definitely being subjected to and seeing the cult literature and maybe even watching some of the Scientology network TV. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it just breaks my heart. I do think I do need to start coming out again with a sign I can hold up high to parents coming in and out. Actually, I wonder. Yeah, I might have another look at using my tripod. Because a tripod would work when they don't have the green netting out. I just have to work out how to weight it down. That wouldn't be too much an inconvenience for me to carry the extra weight out of my backpack. But definitely something to think about. I'm always looking something with big letters exactly because we are. I know I'm zoomed out, but we are quite a distance away from the front. So yeah, some concise wording with massive letters on it. So probably bigger than what I already have. Yeah, because I could bring a big banner. I had to fold let me think about this. I had to fold the up banner that I could unfold when I got out here. Prop it up against the fence. Yeah, I'd have to have a think about how I could make one like that would work. Or even think about it. Maybe even get a canvas banner professionally made, maybe. Yeah, I'll have a think. Have a think, cause yeah, exactly. But I reckon I'm safe enough with the wall here. So I think I can prop things up with the wall fine, but I won't tie anything to the railings. I'll play it safe there. Because tying it to the railings, it just seems a bit dodgy to be doing that. Yeah, against the tiles there. The tiles there, the wall would do. Yeah, I'll have a think. If I could manage to do a large poster and find some sort of way of stabilising. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have a think about how I could do it. It certainly would be useful to have something on big enough for the guys coming in and out to see. Yeah, Rika, the parking lot there is full. Yeah, I've noticed I've stopped bringing out the sign I used to bring out on the pole. Do you know what I did find when I used to come out holding the sign on the pole? I used to find a few days later that my thumb had swelled up to about twice the size of the thumb on my other hand. That's why I stopped bringing out my sign on the pole. I don't know if it was the wind blowing it or what was, or if it was just by holding the pole that was doing the damage. These bloody aging bodies, lads. Once you hit the perimenopause, things just rapidly decline after an animal rate. I'm hoping it'll start to peter out a bit. Because, geez, at this rate of decline, I shudder to think what my body would be like in 5, 10 years' time. Yeah, putting flyers on the car. Yeah, well, the cars are on side on cult property. And even at that, I'm not sure what the regulations are putting flyers on car windshields in public places even. But I do think talking to anyone that wants to talk, helping to spread awareness that way, people passing by reading my signs, that is creating some effectiveness. And maybe even we're reaching people on these here YouTubes. Maybe someone new is stumbling across your channel and realising, oh, I didn't know Scientology was an abusive cult. Maybe I'll do some research into that. Can I give you my card? Give you my card there. That's my YouTube channel on the back. If you are looking for a book to read, this one in particular, Child X by Jamie Mustard. He's someone who grew up in Scientology as a child in the States. He wrote about the horrific abuses he suffered, and his story is by no means unique. I've heard similar stories from children who've grown up in Copenhagen, in Sweden, in the Philippines, in Australia, all around the world, that this is a highly abusive cult, probably one of the worst are in existence today. And like you think, because they call themselves a church and community centre, that
They say that Tom Cruise was. Well,
Tom Cruise is a fully paid member. He believes in it,
yeah.
but they have celebrity centres where they carefully handle the celebrities, and they feed them on a certain path to keep them sweet. It's all about the money. It's predominantly a money scam. But the way their teachings,
I see
but
this
the,
little
the way
girl.
the,
This little girl.
oh, this breaks my heart, and this is why I come out with my posters, try and plant some seeds of doubt that maybe.
Like sexualized. How to say exactly? A little girls like looking like
Oh,
old
it's
with so much makeup
yeah,
and
it's
so
it's
much
the
hair.
it's the Irish dancing. They're very much like the beauty pageants in America now, with the hair and everything else. Like they're young girls, they're of an impressionable age. They're going into a cult where there's a lot of cult material about. So you can imagine these girls will grow up thinking, oh, that was that nice friendly place I used to do my Irish dancing. Where's the harm in coming in for a free personality test or doing a free course? That's why I come out here that maybe they might think, oh, I remember there was a lady used to come out here protesting about her abuses. Maybe I better do some Googles first. Maybe I shouldn't take the cult's word for it that they're a friendly group.
You're very good. You're doing very good.
Well, I do think increasingly more in this life we need to look out for each other.
Even my son he was finished Carrot Cross School, and he knows from Carrot Cross School that this church is not good.
Yeah.
And the school told him that. Not,
Oh, that is good because that's what we should encourage. We should,
principal
yeah.
was clever enough to.
And that is it. We should be, as a parent, encourage the schools to say we need cult awareness education in schools. Because even if you think about it, the cohesive nature of cults that they have over people, it's very similar to being in an abusive relationship. It's the same similar mind fuckery that goes on. So I think we should be educating our kids better.
And you're doing
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thanks for stopping and talking to us. And there was me worried I'd come out here and I wouldn't be able to talk at all today, lads. That I'd be gone rusty and I would have forgotten all my words. So I think I'm doing not so bad today at all. My book is falling over there. Yeah, exactly, Rick. I hope they haven't recruited anyone. But it did get me thinking that when I was here before Christmas, when they had the finals on, if you remember, there's quite a few Karens that had to go for me being out here with me with live streaming. And it just got me thinking, were they Karens or were they public members of Scientology who have foolishly got themselves sucked in through doing the Irish dancing contest? Because you'd have to consider the amount of parents involved with the Irish dancing. It wouldn't be too far fetched to believe that maybe one or two of them has gotten sucked into Scientology and did the free course and now paid to do courses. Do you know what I mean? And I definitely don't want to. I definitely don't want the kids to grow up and to wander in here, because even some of the kids are 15, 16, so they don't have too long to go before they would be of a legal age where the cult to be trying to proactively recruit them. This is going to change me camera direction. Try not capture the kids that are coming out. Ah, Roger there is blushing. Roger is blushing with Emma saying hi. Roger says, hello, sexy, back to Emma. Oh, fantastic, Sophia. Yeah, I think I've done pretty good today. And I was worried when I first came out that I mightn't be in a talky frame of mind, if you know what I mean. Our Emma is blushing, fantastic. But I think this does show, though, there definitely is a value to coming out here. That person there does look like a staff uniform. That is a staff uniform. But she's pretty, how shall we say, she's not young in years. And she does have the mobility aid. I wonder is that someone's age and parent they roped into it. He's a staff member, all right, in his fancy waistcoat. And that lady there's a staff member. But she's pretty frail looking on that mobility device to help her walk. I fucking hate that. Like, she's not walking too good there. Like, they shouldn't be dragging that poor lady in to be working in there. For fuck's sake. Just going to zoom back out again. I hate to see the elderly being used and abused. She's not walking too good at all. I don't even know if she should be out walking at all. Maybe she'll be at home resting her feet up. Do you know what I mean? I can't. Yeah, she definitely looked like staff because she has the what do you call it, the fancy scarf thing around her front. She's hobbling down in around the back there. Don't know, can we capture that? No, we can. Let's see. She's gone outside. It frustrates me sometimes. I can't always capture through the camera lens what my eyes are able to see. And I know we did see in there before an elderly gent doing all their general dog's body cleaning for themselves. Oh God, there's 2 people on reception. I am curious, will next weekend would they have the netting back up? Although I won't be out here next weekend. I have some family commitments next weekend. But I would be curious to know though, will the green mesh appear or have they been firmly told off not to put up the green mesh? He's in the silver waistcoat, so he's that. See the same guy coming back to his desk, or was that a different guy? I don't think we've seen that many different people in there working as staff members. I'd love to know how many staff members do they actually have, and how many hours these poor lads are having to work in there. Because like when you're a volunteer, there is no rules and regulations there for volunteers. I don't think there's anything stopping you if you want to from volunteering, say 100 hours a week. You don't get any pay. At most, all you can get is, what do they call it? Yeah, maybe given money that's for, say, travelling expenses or for your food, you know, that kind of thing. Or maybe for the uniform. But from the point you were getting paid any wages or not, that would be a no-no. If they did make them proper staff members and pay them wages, they'd have to pay them at the very least minimum wage, which there's no way of doing that here. I suppose they could be enticing them in with free courses and whatnot, or reduced price courses. Hey Rox, how are you? Hey Buttercup. Oh, thanks very much, Style. I do forget. If y'all wouldn't mind double tapping the screen to like, share and subscribe, and tell all your friends to pop over and give Irish Mart a visit. Oh, you've won loads of medals. Well done. Fantastic. 2 young girls there clapping. They've won loads of medals, lads. Absolutely phenomenal dancers. Doyle Academy of Irish Dancing is the back of their shirts. So Doyle Academy of Irish Dancing. Well, that's something to look up later and see. So they're part of Irish dancing, yeah, which would make sense. Yeah, maybe that gives me an angle. Something for me to think about. These Irish dancers, they'd be signed up with some, probably with a lot of them with academies. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and think, is there any way I can hold Trici's parents? They have been safe pointed, but maybe there is some way to undo some of that safe pointing. Do you know what I mean? Like knowing this place is a cult, but then knowing that the abusive cult is kind of two separate things. You know what I mean? And then people in general, they don't really understand how subliminal messaging and subtle mind control can work even at that. Oh, lots of people walking by today. Ah, you're grand, Mary. My brain is out of autocorrect typos. Yeah, they do pay. They pay a fee, but it's a very small fee style. I think it's something like I think it's something like £1,000 is what they pay to rent out the hall in there, which is nothing considering the amount of people in there. If you think about it, actually, I wonder how much would the parents have paid to enter the contest. Maybe this is part of a money scam on the Irish Dancing Association's crowd. But they'd be making a bit of money themselves as well. Maybe that's where, maybe that's why they jumped at it to, because if you think about, like the Irish Dancing have been here for years. They used to run the contest in another place before this. So it's not like they can't afford to rent somewhere proper. Do you know what I mean? I'll have to do a bit of digging, do some research on these guys. We got to think of some way to undo this same pointing. I definitely, I'll have a think about, we do need some sort of large banner on display. Try and reach these parents. Get them even, at the very least, if we can get them to reconsider and just think about what they're doing. That just maybe there is some real harm in having their kids in there all day. Maybe there is some real harm. Do you know what I mean? How much does an Irish dancing contest mean to you? You really do have a pompous way of walking. Like that guy sort of has a pompous strut about him. Oh, he's going down the same set of steps the elderly lady went down. I would be curious what is down them steps. Why would they need to be going down the steps on the outside? Jeez, I would be curious. I would be very curious to have a proper walk around the building. Now I won't, because I know full well that they will call the guards on me if I was to even try it. I would be curious to know what exactly the layout is down there. And why is it we see them? Because we see them down this side sometimes as well, going down below as well. I wonder, do they have a gym and a sauna located down in the basement? Or even do they have a basement? Or is this some sort of way they have the building segregated out? Let's think about this. If you have the Irish dancing event on, a lot of the rooms on the inside you'd need to have locked to prevent a curious kid to running into. So maybe that's why they're having to go down the side there to reach it from the outside. I wonder, it's very curious. So it says that might be a way to open some auditing cause bookkeeping files. Arthur, definitely, yeah. I would so dearly love to see the books and see are they, because like I seriously doubt they're paying any taxes here. I could loosely think of a bunch of ways they could maybe get out of it. Because if they're not making any money here, if they're declaring themselves at a loss, which they can easily do, because they are running the Dianetic courses, which is trademarked to the guys over in the States. So at the very least, they need to be paying a license fee. So you could very easily do it that some sort of way that the license fee you're paying by far exceeds any money you're taking in. So I was feeling a little better today. We cold and had a little bit sore this elbow. Ah, well then you're fine then, Jojo. If you got to watch the footy then, there's nothing at all wrong with you then, lass. But yeah, no, you do need to get yourself to bed early tonight. You do need to be getting some decent sleep. And I hope that footy team doesn't wear blue, otherwise I'd be saying on your bike, lady. I hope the team you're cheering for wears green. Stylist saying Joe was downtown the other day and there a certain produce truck parked in an alley and I want to ask about an old friend, if you know what I mean. Style is often in alleys. Good to know. Good to know, Style. It was Australia versus Korea Republic. Ah, dirty bird. Women's football in the Asian Championships. Oh yes, I forgot about the women's football. Yeah, of course, that makes so much more sense now. Okay, that's making a mental note of that. That when me and Mark Roger do make it to Chicago, we want Style to give us a tour of all the alleyways. Time we're 4 o'clock. Probably explains why it's getting a little bit nippy now. I can feel a little bit of a breeze. It's worth my while hanging on for. I can see some more parents are walking by with the kids. I'll get a chance to read my signage. And there's some more leaving out. That's good. We'll hang on for another bit. Let our signs do their job. Agus is saying they are promoting and supporting the competitors at local schools. You have your knee task out. Yeah, exactly, yeah. We certainly do need to work out how to undo some of the safe pointing that has been done. But we'll see what we can do. Sorry? I'm live streaming, yeah. Oh, it was a great game. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic, Joe. That's the main thing, is watching a good game of footy. That woman who looked at me and asked me, was he recording? She looked and sounded familiar. I'll have to have a look back at some of my old footage and see if she wanted to carry some last year. It's kind of a dark question to ask, am I recording? Like if I'm standing here holding a gimbal with a iPhone attached, more than likely I am recording. Do you know what I mean? That's my logically minded brain. I'm always suspicious when someone asks me that question, what the intent behind it is. Hey there, Journey, how are you? We're outside the Dublin org of the cult of Scientology, where they have an Irish dancing event on today. Hence why we're seeing so many cars. Car park has been absolutely full there today. Now there has been a few parents have left at this stage, but there's not much. There's not much spaces there in the car park though either. So that is still most of the parents and the kids are still inside, where we know they're getting subjected to cult propaganda, which I know that is precisely why the cult does offer this premise so cheap. Oh, a lovely doggy! Look at this absolutely gorgeous dog. I love that kind of a dog. Oh, he's a handsome fella. Oh, exactly what Miriam says. Please make sure you smash the like, otherwise you're in danger of getting a wedgie. Yeah, I'll just sent you the pictogram or the idea of the banner. Fantastic. Oh, she happened to drive all the way around to drive out, maybe. Oh yes, of course. There's no way you'd be reversing. So the people parked along here will have to drive all the way around the back to come out again. I still don't like the design of this building. It really does. It really does. It's a bugbear of mine. So here you have the main entrance into the cult there. Are there any back entrances or side entrances? I think there are a few minor ones, but that's the main way in and out. You would think that somewhere along here there'd be a little passageway for them to enter and exit the org, at the very least, even on foot. Because like to go all the way up that windy path all the way out, that's quite a long distance to travel in the event of emergency. Like if that building went on fire, that's quite a distance to travel. Do you know what I mean? Now I guess once you came up this way, in a way you'd be out of you wouldn't be hit by any falling debris or anything like that. So that's how they're able to do it. Because they do have their front there is relatively clear. Even still, I just don't understand why. Like if that was an authentic company or even an authentic church, you'd have a walkway. You'd have a walkway from the road here at the very least. Oh, fantastic style! Do you know what? If I remember that, I'm going to use that next time recording. Yes, OMG! I thought this was a debt ray. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And anyway, so if I am recording, I am legally entitled to record. I'm standing here on public property. I don't have one of the what you call them telescopic lenses, say that a photojournalist would have. So it's not like I'm zooming right into the front door and being able to see what's going on inside. I'm not peeking around the back, say, into a changing room or anything. So you know what I mean? This is where I think sometimes people just are incapable of using their common sense. Certainly a lot of medals being won. I've seen quite a few children come out now with loads of medals around their necks, which has me very curious. I guess you could be winning best costume in your age group, best dancing, and maybe you're part of a group of dancers as well. Because some of them have had 3 or 4 medals around their neck. Or maybe they're participation medals, and you get a trophy if you win. Because some of them do have them fancy trophies. Very curious. Oh, thanks very much. Joe's going to send it to me. Exactly the journey. Everybody is welcome in, but we have a giant fence and video surveillance, exactly. And yet, They have up a big disclaimer that you're not allowed to video record yourself for your own independent evidence. And then we're all welcome unless you know about the abuses of Scientology. If you're not susceptible to the brainwashing and mind control, you're not welcome. Rika says, even though Japan doesn't recognize Scientology as a religion, I fucking love that. Good on the Japanese. And it is still spreading there. They just opened a mission in Osaka, and the one in Tokyo has been there almost a decade. Wow. I wonder if they gotten any Japanese celebrities involved in Scientology, and is that helping to promote it? Oh no, you can't protest there either. Oh no. I saw also your recording button in an appropriate and family friendly fashion and usually sets minds at rest. And that is it exactly, style. I try to be mindful because there's no need to be a snakehead, I find. And then there's also there's also what is it you're legally allowed to do, but then also what is the right thing to do, if you know what I mean. Rain says my daughter is savvy, though she'll get her flyers out to all the shops around Tokyo. They won't be in Osaka now though. Ah, fantastic. And that is the thing, it really is to try and spread awareness every which way we can. Like if you're given a chance in the workplace or even if you're out and about down the shops, if you're able to work out how to slip Scientology into the conversation and that the abusive cult, go for it, lads. So I was saying in the 90s, I went to stay at an 800-year-old Buddhist temple at the base of Mount Fuji. Oh, a 800-year-old. Oh, fantastic. Japan has anti-cult laws, but since you cannot protest, no one really interpolates them. That is kind of a confusing thing. They have anti-cult laws, so they know Scientology is a cult, but yet they're allowed to open buildings and operate freely. Sort of a contradiction there, really. Oh wow! Because then I believe Tom Cruise visited Tokyo back when it opened. Wow! I think it was here for the opening of this Dublin one as well. Mary was saying I don't know any Japanese celebrities, but might be because I'm old and uncool. Yeah, I second and third that, Miriam. You are old and uncool. But I'm not, but I'm even older and even more uncooler. Yeah, he does seem to be. Tom Cruise is huge everywhere, sadly. Yeah, and there is no denying he does do impressive stunts. And you could very easily falsely join the dots. He's an active, fully paid up member of Scientology. He does credit them for curing his dyslexia. So it's not a stretch to think, oh, maybe that's why he's such an effective stuntman as well. Kathy is saying Rico, I think so, if I remember correctly. Good morning, David. How are you? We're outside the Dublin org of the cult of Scientology, where they've rented out their premises to the day for an Irish dancing contest, which is why we're seeing the car park is pretty dang full. Although we have seen a few parents have left, but most of the parents are still in there though. Like that's all day the kids have been subjected to cult material, which I don't think that's good in any shape or form. Like at the very least, if you're going to be using the cult to host these children events, at the very least, shouldn't you be insisting all the cult material needs to be taken down? The picture of LRH needs to be gone. Any indication that this place is a cult, all of or anything that says Scientology, all of the leaflets, their TV screens needs to be switched off. All of the books need to be hidden. That you're basically going in. It should be a dark room you're going into, if you know what I mean. How's it going? No, I never have, but I've listened to a lot of ex-Scientologists speaking out on YouTube over the last few years, and it's just all the stories and the abuse that they went through. I mean, we're not just talking about physical abuse or financial abuse; it's abuse of the mind first and foremost. Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, a vulnerable moment in your life, which we all have them. You know, we're all susceptible at some point if they get you at the wrong time in your life. Do you know what I mean? And then because they do appear to be so friendly, and you adopt guard, you kind of trust them because you think, oh, geez, I met this most wonderful person. So so that's why. But do you know what the heartbreaking thing is? The way people do get. I, you know what the heartbreaking thing is? The way someone can get roped in very quickly. In a matter of a few weeks, you can be fully invested and think this is the best thing since sliced bread. When I first started coming out, they called the guards on me a couple of times. They tried to say by me standing there is harassing staff members going in and out. Like they blatantly make things up and lie. Yeah. Yeah. Oh fuck. It's not an easy place to live because once they have you, they don't want to let you go because it's so hard to rope in new people. I would well believe I've heard similar stories to that as well. Do you know what? I've made some friends with people with ex-members that I've met through. There's a whole online community of people like me all around the world out doing this. So I've met people through that and gotten to know some of the ex-Scientologists and just hearing their stories. And even people who joined as an adult didn't become staff, but just were public members in the courses. And I don't think anyone joins Scientology and walks away that hasn't been abused or thinks, oh yeah, that was money well spent. The way they're written, their practices, are just abuse written into the system every which way you look at it. So that's why I come out. I'm just trying to plant some seeds of doubt that maybe, lads, before you get sucked in and go into a free personality test, do your own independent research, work out why are so many people now out talking about Scientology. And the reason why, up until now, you don't see that many people talking out, because Scientology will fair game and harass them to fucking death to try and suppress the stories. Oh, yeah, yeah. Thanks for stopping anyway. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Take care now. Oh, fantastic, Ricky. I've talked extensively to your in-laws about this. Fantastic. Yeah, Miriam is pretty cool. Hey, Bianca, how are you? Bianca is back with us. Yeah, we're still here. Oh, thanks very much, Miriam, for shouting out. Yeah, Bianca will be chatting with Tori Magoo on Tori's channel late Monday evening, early Tuesday morning for us Europeans. I might set my 10 alarm clocks again to wake up for that one. I don't say that, Miriam. Roger will get a beat. Well, his head, look at this. Look at this lad, his head is already pretty big. We don't want it to swell up anymore. Oh yeah, an hour later sounds good, alright, Bianca. Peter, hey Peter, what did Admiral Akbar say in Star Wars Episode 6 that applies to Scientology? Oh, it's a trap, exactly. Well, certainly is a trap. Sophia said that that's still a great time drawing necessary up that early. Oh, good question. Would Tori know Bianca's mom, eh? That's a good question. Yeah, he was pretty softly spoken, so I gathered you probably couldn't hear him, alright. I suppose I could get a second mic. Well, I'm not sure I'd be comfortable thrusting it in people's faces though either. But then it's not essential that I do capture people's conversations I'm talking to. Because the main purpose I've been out here is to talk to people and spread awareness. And then secondary to that is the live stream is useful to push out into the universe. Both around the same age and gone around the same time. Oh, interesting. Joe was always on the West Coast time. What's the West Coast time? Well, that's the West Coast of America, is it? All of these flipping time zones. No, I correct you there, Miriam. Tori was OT7. I'd say she's OT fuck off Scientology these days. Rika says, yeah, Jojo, might as well be on our time. Did you set your clock back for daylight saving hours? As he is. Oh yeah, spring forward. Spring forward here in Ireland is going to be. When is spring forward? The last weekend in March, is it? I think it's the last weekend. I think it is the last weekend in March is spring forward for us. Exactly, Rico, whatever the hell. This thing of changing the time zones is stupid. I think this is the last year we fiddle with the clocks. I think we should revert back to not changing it at all. We don't need to be messing with our clocks anymore. Rico says waiting on Carly to vote against it so we can leave our clocks alone, stop messing with her carry rhythms. Yeah, before COVID happened, it was looking promising that the European Union was going to vote for doing away with changing the clocks. But that seems to have gone permanently on the back boiler. 100% David Tory is the OT badass. She most certainly is. Vega says 4 years ago, Oregon and Washington voted it out. Oh. So now you need Cali to vote it in. Fantastic. David says he lives in his own time zone. Miriam says it will be a huge IT hassle when they decide to give it up. On the contrary, Miriam, it's less of a hassle to give it up. It's a hassle for IT to be implementing the daylight saving hours. So I appreciate the beeps there and a thumbs up. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think most of the world has daylight saving hours. I think they do, I could be wrong. Y2K daylight lol. Oh yeah, Dave has adaptive facility. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things we need to do for the man in our workplace. Keep them paychecks coming in. Just go and take a sip of water there. What are we doing? 4:30. What did I do with my gloves? I'm going to pop you down for a second while I put on my gloves. My hands are starting to get cold. For whatever reason, after 4 o'clock, you always notice a significant dip in the temperature. Let's see, can I find my gloves? Ah, there they are. Whew, thank God. For a second there, I thought I was after losing them. Yeah, it's better. Yeah, that's Roger. He crash landed in IKEA, which is where I rescued him. And he has an important message to spread to the world. Roger is Zena's cousin, and he says Zena was framed by a madman called Lafayette Ronald Hubbard. They were saying he worked overtime yesterday. Well, next Sunday is Mother's Day. I've already got me mum something special for Mother's Day. All these Americans are doing yard work. Yeah, I think Antics has Roger's spaceship. She made a video for T using it. So I think Roger is stuck with us for the time being. Are they missing some letters off their sign there? Like that church, the ODS and the I are white, and the other letters are in gold. So is the gold thing fell off, and that's just the O from where the glue was stuck onto it. Church of Scientology and Community Centre. Something of Dublin. I wonder what that something was. I'm going to have to look back at some of my older videos and see. I don't think they were always missing them letters, were they? Or am I just not very observant? I certainly never noticed that the gold trim was missing from the letters. Yeah, I think that white is just where they would have been glued on. Well, then the letters are falling down underneath, maybe. Yeah, because I think it didn't always say Church of Scientology, Community Centre of Dublin. And there we see, just before the O, we see the T and the O. So they're falling down then. And then there's an S probably somewhere else. So someone needs to get out their super glue and stick that back on. How's it going? Can I give you my card?
Sorry?
Can I give you my card? There you
Sorry?
get my card.
No thanks. I don't want to card, but
Okay.
I do disagree with Scientology.
Pardon?
Practice, huh?
Yeah. Do you live in the area?
Huh?
Do you live in the area?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to live here. I pass by it every day.
Yeah. Just hoping to spread some awareness that maybe they're not just a benign, friendly group. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
They are highly abusive cult.
That's the same with the JWs and Mormonism. I've been approached by Mormons, like asking like, oh, did you have to church with that? So I was like, no. And they're like, would you like to? I was like, no. Like I said, no once, like no.
And I will say these guys, Scientology, are probably one of the most abusive, if not the most abusive cult in existence.
There could be worse than parts than those in the past though.
Yeah, probably worse in the past because you can rest assured that this was founded by LRH, and you can rest assured he didn't invent these techniques.
I mean,
That they would have been around over the centuries.
it was found. This one was found by like a science fiction writer. I can't really believe whatever.
Yeah, he was a sci-fi writer, but you know how he managed to spin that? Because he says, I have a job, thanks very much. Most people work Monday to Friday. They have the weekend off. But what was I going to say? The excuse LRH was able to give why a sci-fi writer was able to, because he said this was through years of research, and he remembered because we've all lived billions of past lives. So because he was in the army, he suffered some war wounds that he reckoned was able to help him to recall all his past lives. And that's why he has all this knowledge that nobody else has. And then he was able to say, because he remembered all this past knowledge, he was able to say, based on all these stories, he said, all these things happen. And that's why he just created his sci-fi based on true stories he recalled from his past lives. And that's why he was such a good sci-fi writer.
I don't think that's like a.
And they say we live a billion more, but that is what Scientologists believe, that we're eternal beings, that these bodies we exhibit are just meat bodies. We're trapped in these bodies. And that's why you need to pay so much money to do what they call auditing. Yeah, you can say that everybody does, but still people do get sucked in, particularly young people. You know what I mean? So there are probably more people leaving that are joining, but I care about the people who do join now and in the future. It does seem to be it's mostly young people. And then you'll see some elderly people get sucked in, but they're getting sucked in because their sons or daughters or grandkids are in, and they say, oh, come on in, Nan. I'll show you this fantastic place.
They used here the place as a kind of community hub for all the young people, for dancing and shows and stuff.
And that just shows how wrong it is that people at Wall Street point themselves that there's no harm.
Yeah.
They've been subjected to cult literature in there.
Yeah.
Like if that was a drug, then you wouldn't come out on a Sunday because the drug house said, oh, it's all right, we won't sell any drugs today. Do you know what I mean? It's the same sort of idea. Yeah, thanks very much. But they say that we eternal beings. We're trapped in these meat bodies. And that's why you need to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to do all these different courses and auditing. And that is to try and free yourself of these bodies and to regain the superpowers that you would have been born with billions of years ago. That, for instance, you shouldn't need glasses.
Yeah, I learned about that from like the internet and school. I learned that from like elsewhere. So I know a good bit about this thing. Cults exist to exploit the vulnerable and the young, especially in this day and age. I mean, look at the city-day economy.
And we all have vulnerable moments because maybe you've moved out of home, you're away at college, maybe you have trouble making friends. Maybe your parents have died, or you've just lost a young child. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many times where we are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then the people they have doing out they're always attractive young people that coming out.
Yeah.
With their brochures trying to entice you, come in for a free personality test. You might think, oh Jesus, where's the harm? You do the free personality test. There's never anyone that they say, holy smokes, you pass with flying colours. You're going to live a long, productive, healthy life. They'll always say, oh yeah, you scored badly on this, and this. But don't worry, With some courses to help you with that.
Yeah, they're
But the
paying
courses,
millions of dollars for
but
Christ's
but it,
sakes.
but it, but it starts off at your first course might be free. The
Yeah,
next one might be 50 quid. The next one might be €100.
yeah,
So it kind of goes up, and before you know it, you're so fully invested that you're paying 2 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand per course.
yeah,
Because because they can use this thing of once you believe in the concept of all their past lives, and through some of their auditing, they'll even prompt you to remember some of your past lives. So you might actually genuinely believe that you're Cleopatra in a past life. And once you believe in that concept, that's when they can say, oh, the reason why these courses don't seem to working for you, because you have all this trauma from your past lives. We have another bunch of courses we can sell you there, and that will help you be more successful and deliver on the promises of these other courses over here. And then there's also the belief because you're surrounded by other Scientologists when you do courses, they seem to be flourishing because you're not allowed to talk out and say, this is a load of bullshit. It's not working for me.
yeah.
You have to put a positive spin on it and say, oh, that was the best course yet, lads. So then you think you're surrounded by all these people who seem to be working, so you think, oh, it must just be me.
Yeah,
It must be that I'm just too stupid. I need to study harder.
that leads
Or
to
maybe once I get past this one, I move on to the next one. Maybe it'll suddenly start making sense.
yeah. It's kind of like it stems a bit from peer pressure, especially like if you're surrounded by other Scientologists, and it's also the feeling that you're feeling like you don't feel good when you think you failed, even though it's just a whole scheme of getting you into this
Yeah.
thing.
It's hard to acknowledge and to realise you have been abused and you have been scammed. So you still want to believe that isn't a scam. So you kind of keep going with it. So it kind of, though the coercive nature of it and the controlling nature kind of works similar to an abusive relationship.
Yeah,
You don't know at the start that it's an abusive relationship. It's very much all love bombing. And
yeah,
you're sold on a false idea of what your future together is going to be, all roses.
yeah. And then you start to rationalize when things get tough, and then things get worse. More you continue to rationalize. You try to make sense of it. You try to it's just a it's like a mis like
Yeah, and it's the victim blaming then as well. Oh, it's because, oh, work was bad. Oh, it's your own fault. You slammed the door too loud.
yeah,
That's why you triggered my migraine and I whacked you. I didn't mean to. Sorry, love. Or whatever the excuse is. And that's what these guys here are very big on the victim blaming as well.
yeah.
That, for instance, if you get assaulted by a fellow Scientologist, you're not allowed to go to the police and report it.
Oh my god.
And only the perpetrator doesn't get into trouble. It's the victim that does, because they'd say, "Oh, you must either be very weak that you allowed yourself to be
Or you done something bad
to
to
be raped,
deserve it.
or you did something bad in a previous life. You must have been an even worse abuser in a previous life. So you need to do all this auditing to free yourself of all these bad engrams."
It kind of reminds me of how JW's handled it. They tend to go to victim blaming. They use like some kind of Bible verse, some bullshit excuse to try to excuse, oh, you must have done something to deserve it. And it also reminds me of how JWs have a policy where they have a two-witness policy for child abuse. So if a child gets abused, they typically won't get believed because abuse have been private, unless the perpetrator confesses, and they typically don't get reported to the police or anything like
Yeah.
that.
So there's a lot of similarities between these groups. And I think any group that's operating in secret when they're not upfront, like even with these guys, you don't find out. You have to go up through all these levels first to get to what they call the state of clear. Which to get to that point, you've already spent a couple of $100,000, and then you reach on these Operation Satan levels. That's supposed to give you restore all your mythical powers you're supposed to have. But you don't find out until Operation Satan level 3 that we're all eternal beings trapped in these meat bodies. We're born in a spaceship by a galactic overlord called Xenu. He blew us all up with hydrogen bombs, threw us into volcanoes and made us into icebergs and all the rest of it. And then somehow we managed to free ourselves, and our spiritual beings rose up, and we just went into the nearest soul we could find. So this is just a meat body. And that is at OT level 3 after spending years and money in Scientology. And yet, in any normal religion, like I grew up a Roman Catholic, we found out from day one that the Son of God, Jesus, was born to Mary a virgin. We found out that from day one,
Yeah.
which is the core of the beliefs. Where these guys, it's very much rip read. They need to get you on the hook first, and then they very slowly and carefully craft what they tell you.
I'm not sure if I should ask this. You don't have the answer if you don't want to. But do you have personal experience with this cult in particular?
I don't know. I always thought that this was just a harmless, kind of benign cult. That was more a money scam to rip off the wealthy. The wealthy celebrities had more money than sense. That's where, like Tom Cruise, Leah Remini, John Travolta, fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And then about 5 years ago, I came across a guy from Mexico talking to someone on a YouTube channel saying that he had mortgaged his house. He had he's gone into debt. He was working 3 jobs to pay for courses. He was after committing bank fraud, taking out credit cards under false pretenses to pay for more courses. And it sounded so far-fetched to me that I thought, this is bullshit, lads. This is all completely made up. And I thought no more about it. And then a couple of years ago, I started, because I got into watching the Scam Baiter channels. And then I stumbled across some ex-Scientologists speaking on YouTube. And since then, I've just realised how abusive this cult is. Because it's people from all walks of life, all around the world, so many different, that are public members paying to do courses. They're staff members, and they're even the members are part of the inner military arm.
Right.
And it's just, even though they all grew up different countries, different ethnicities, but the stories of the abuses were very similar and the same. And that's what got me looking into it. And that's what inspired me to come out here. I can't bear to think of anyone else going through the same.
I see. The question
You know a good book to read will be this one, Jamie Muster's Child X. He grew up as a child of Scientology in the States, but his story is by no means unique. I've heard similar stories by people who grew up in Scientology in Copenhagen, in Australia, all around the world. So that's definitely a good one to look at.
The questions are really cute.
Oh, this is No More Kids in Scientology.
Little guy.
Yeah, he's Roger, my little alien, who has died me in my fight. Another good book to read is this one. This is another good book. Stephen Hassan is a mind control expert. So that's another one. It's just, that helps you understand that even so many similarities between abusive relationships and cult behaviours and how they're able to capitalise on our need. We all have an inbuilt need to fit into the world. And the way that, let's say you're talking to me now, there's a certain level of trust. Like, you don't think that I'm going to whip out, say, a knife out of my pocket and start stabbing you today.
Yeah.
So that's how cults kind of capitalise on that sort of your appreciative beef. No, I think some people just beep because they're appreciative of the signs of being out here. Because no one around here likes the cult being here.
Yeah, I think I just saw someone flip us though, like from the car window.
That could well have. But sure, let them off. Free country. If it makes them happy.
Now my
I
problem.
mean, exactly. There's a lot more important things to get upset about in this world, and even at that.
Yeah. We all have our own issues and stuff. Stuff to handle. Person. But yeah. How the fuck is this still here with Mark Day? Because I've been here for like, I don't know, decades. Jesus.
Yeah, this building has been here 8 years now.
8 years?
Yeah.
Oh, decades, jeez.
No, the building itself has been here longer. It used to be run by an evangelist church.
Oh.
And then they went, yeah, and it was based on a crowd based in the Philippines. It was an offshoot over there.
Right.
So because they already had the church here, they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And because this land was already zoned for religious use, that's how these guys were able to open, even though we don't recognise them as being authentic religion. But they do classify themselves as a business operating in the field of religion. And I think that's how they managed to open. Plus the way they use the word community centre. They do have it open to the public, but there's no benefit to that.
Yeah. They could have opened a church instead of this.
Or even they could have opened a school or a real community centre.
Yeah. Not this.
There's so many things they could have done here. And even that, it shows the savviness of Scientology because they got this building at a discount. When they bought this building in 2016, they paid 6 million for it. Where 6 years before that, it was worth 16 million.
Jesus.
So they got the timing right there. But because the Evangelist Church went into liquidation, it was kind of like a fire sale. And that's their financial scams. They do invest in a lot of property. And as to who owns them title deeds, David Miscavige, or he has the money. So I don't quite know how that aspect works. But what they do is they have this arm that they call the IAS, International Association of Scientologists. Most Scientologists are a member of that, but that is a voluntary arm where you are aggressively encouraged to donate money. And even for when they would have opened this and done all the renovation and everything, that would have been through IAS members donating the money to renovate it. None of it would have been paid by Scientology themselves. So they would have gotten the members to pay for kitting this whole place out.
Yeah.
And yet the title deeds is owned by the head honcho in Scientology, so it's very much like the way the Mormons operate.
I was guessing that they were gonna they were just giving away actually other people, like not for themselves, like they didn't use their own money to make this.
Oh no, definitely not. No, they con their members into opening it. And that's also used to falsely point to members as well. That they aim to open 3 or 4 of these new buildings every year. And that in itself makes it look like, because if you're only allowed to read Scientology approved doctrine, you're not allowed to read Scientology from other sources. So you can't listen to people like me talking out about them or ex-members. You can only listen to what the Scientology high up tell you. And they go to these events once a year, or where they're subjected to all these fancy videos. David Miscavige talking and bragging about, oh look, we're after opening 3 new buildings. So that's how you think, oh, Scientology is growing, not realizing that Scientology is failing because they're losing more members than recruiting. You just think, oh, it just must be our local org that's failing because we're losing members left, right, and centre. So that all helps feeds into it. They're just screwing the existing members for more and more money. And because you do have a lot of wealthy members, and they seem to be, this thing of keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
They seem to out one-manship them. That someone donated 1 million, they got a big medal. So now the next one has to come along, he donates 2 million.
That was a wave.
So I don't know how you stop the wealthy guys from donating all the money. Because once there's no money, they quickly dry up and disappear when they're not raking in the coins anymore. Now, getting rid of the taxes and status in America would certainly help. But I want these guys to be gone. At the very least, I don't want anyone new to get involved in Scientology. And that's why I come out here to hopefully just plant a few seeds of doubt. That maybe these guys aren't the friendly, benign group they appear to be. Oh, it's getting a bit windy. Oh, we're near 5 o'clock. I might think about heading home myself. I have a bit to travel. Yeah, but thanks for stopping to talk to us. But I do think talk to your family and friends about Scientology and even cults in general, because I do think we do need to be more cult aware.
Yeah.
Because this guy, you can rest assured, this won't be the first or last cult setting up. I think there's new cults opening every day. Because even with all of these spiritual and wellness centres, some of them are now could well be authentic, but some of them are a bit on the iffy side.
Yeah.
If it involves handing over, donating your time for free and handing over a lot of cash. So I think making people more aware is the key.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you.
Oh yeah, thanks for talking to us. Yeah, thanks very much. See you now.
Yeah.
So I think I might knock it on the head there, lads. Because my battery is showing as red. And we've been here, Jesus, we've been here nearly 3 hours. Holy smokes. Oh, thanks very much. Big Bean. Thanks very much, Big Bean. Yeah, well, that is it. That's what I reckon I've gone for me is I'm authentic and I'm speaking from my heart. And I think it's that feeling that will resonate with someone and will they'll walk away here. They mightn't necessarily remember what is written on the signs, but remember that lady was authentic and she meant every word she said. And that will help inspire people to talk about and do their own independent research. Ah, that's Dylan. Hi, Dylan. How are you? Oh, I can well understand that, Dylan. Because anyone attacking Tori and Lara is absolutely pure nuts. And it's where I don't need to know the ins and outs of it to know that whoever is talking shit, that's all bullshit. And they have ulterior motives. Oh, thanks very much, Dylan. You're making me blush there. I think it's all about trying to relate to people. Thanks very much, Dylan says thanks for being real and a beacon for norm. So I should be like we all seem to sit on the outside and try to stay warm by proxy. Well, do you know what? As I've gotten older, I'm increasingly of the opinion that we all need to keep an eye out for each other and look out for each other. And that's what I try to do coming out here. Because of all the stories I've heard from ex-members, I honestly can't bear anyone else to go through even a fraction of the abuse that you guys have gone through. And that is what has prompted me to come out here. Because certainly there are a billion other things I prefer to be doing on a lovely day like today. And for someone like me even to come out here and to be able to talk is even in itself a miracle. Because I am very much a shy-minded, autistic person that talking wouldn't exactly be my forte. But when something means enough to me, I am able to talk, if you know what I mean. So I think I'm going to start packing it up now before my camera dies. But I'm going to leave the live stream on until I have walked a bit away from here, just to prove that I have walked away and I haven't, in a fit of madness, jumped over the fence and started vandalising this creepy org. Because you can rest assured, given half a chance, these guys will be making up all sorts of lies about me. So I'm not even going to give them that one flick of a grain that they can tug at to be making up their lies. They'll need to make much harder than that to try and blame Iris for a crime she didn't commit. Just play the music there for a second again. Just very quickly clicked up all my signage there. I think today has been a very productive day. And I consider it well worth my time coming out here. That is it, lads. If we can just save one person from any point in the future, we're getting entangled in Scientology. It makes us all the more worthwhile. And I do need to have a think. How can we reach this Irish dancing crowd and the parents to maybe think about maybe it's not such a good idea to be bringing their kids here for the Irish dancing contest? Thank you, Roger. Just knocked off my mic. Oh, have I lost the magnetic strip? Where's my jacket? Oh, magic! My key saved up. Absolutely fantastic. I didn't think it. Wait, Roger. I got everything I do. Oops. We're all nicely packed up. Hey, Bridge, how are you? Just about packing up now, and I'll bring you guys with me as I walk away. And that is to prove I've remained on this side of the fence at all times. And I haven't, in a fit of madness, managed to pole vault over the fence and do some damage in there. Because I know these fuckers would lie through their eye. They'd lie through their eyeballs if they could. Well, they have to work harder to try and tell lies about me. This really is a horrible place though. Look at the way they have the railings all the way along. The only way in is down at the far entrance there. That's the only way in or out. Seems to be a common theme of theirs that they like to try and keep people in. Oh, I'd love to bump into the Danish policemen on the way home. Oh, yes. Any Scandinavian policemen will do. Oh, yes, I guess. Oh, thanks very much, Jennifer. Well, thank you all for joining me today. It certainly makes it easier for me to be out here, knowing I have you guys with me, chatting to me, and even your eyes for the gives me that extra bit of the extra eyes is always handy as well. Because it's almost like you guys are here with me, keeping me safe. Not bad night. It's 5 o'clock and we still plenty of daylight. This is the time of year I love when it starts getting bright in the evenings again. That is a lovely sky, lovely clear sky. Even better with no wind today, we had no rain. Absolutely fantastic day so it was for protesting. I have to think, what am I having for me dinner? Oh, I have the quiche at home for dinner. And I still have a slice of that Sicilian lemon cheesecake to have for dessert. I always like to treat myself for something nice for my supper when I've been out here. Because I have to say, it's probably my least favourite place in the world to be visiting of a Sunday. Need a glass of. Oh, I do. There's a nip in the air now. It is a bit chilly. So, yeah, I probably will need a whiskey again to get home to warm up. Oh, thanks very much, Hans Christian. Yeah, I could do with a drop of whiskey, all right. And even better, my ankle is holding up well because I badly sprained it there a few weeks ago. But standing on it this afternoon, it's fine. There's no complaints on it. So yeah, I think all in all, I think today has been an almighty success. Exactly, roll on the lovely weather. What are they doing here at all? But this is one of the things that annoys me when they're doing these roadwork things. They never say what exactly is they're doing or who's doing what. Digging up, what are they doing? Wonder, is that the water or gas or electric guys? I wonder. Just making sure there's nobody there behind me. I do like to make sure there's nobody in front or around or behind me before I end the live. Just want to make sure that there is no interesting. Did the park closed off there? Interesting. They do have a notice on the inside there, probably explaining what it is they're about. But why would you need to close off the entrance to the park? Although there is another entrance up this way. Or maybe because they don't want kids running out that way when the workmen are there. Maybe that's it. They just want the kids to use this one up here. I think we might call it an evening here, lads. So I just want to thank you all for joining me today. I think we'll end it here. And Roger says, thank you all very much for the support.